Come on.
They're right there!
Let's go. Move, 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 move.
This episode of Choices Not Chances podcast is sponsored by Louisiana Gun Shop, located on Highway 90 West in Broussard, Louisiana, just south of Lafayette. For more information, stay tuned at the end of this episode.
The views and opinions expressed in this podcast episode by the guest are those of the guest and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of the hosts or partners. This is Choices Not Chances podcast with Ryan and Matt. I'm your co-host, Matthew Charette. Sitting next to me is Ryan Rogers. Ryan.
All right, guys, thanks for coming out. And just like every other time, if you take something away from this episode, if something resonates with you, strikes you, something that other people need to hear, and you know those other people, share this thing out. Don't be selfish with the information. Today we have a special guest I met at John Wayne Williams' retirement, one of the former guests of the show, and somebody that we had great conversation. We've been back and forth trying to put an episode together, and finally getting in the studio and laying it down now. And this is going to be Jonathan Rose. Jonathan Rose is at the Wounded Warrior Regiment as an operations center chief. He advocates for the wounded, ill, and injured, essentially. So he's got a very imperative job up there to keep things going the way they need to be going. And at some points of his career, has held the ears of senators and congressmen alike, trying to get things done for the veteran community. So, Jonathan, thanks for coming out, man. I appreciate it. It's been a couple months in the making, but we're here. So, thank you.
Thanks for having me on, brother.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you coming out. So, usually in the beginning of the episode, I just like to get where people are going. Like I told you offline, writing a book on leadership. So in all my interviews, I have some pointed questions about that for me. But so we start out with like your rearing, coming up, growing up, as your childhood. We're both parents in the house, kind of thing. How many siblings, sports, academics, things that were important, religion, and if we can kind of walk through those and kind of build up to a catalyst of service, and then we take it as it goes from there.
Yes, and yes.
All right. Yeah. Get into it.
Yeah. So family, not together. Really didn't see my dad to probably 10, 9, 12 year-ish. Had stepdad, he was good. Lots of church. It was kind of like daycare for them. So we go to church like 12 days a week, twice on Sundays. And I think the only day we didn't go to church was Sunday. And it was in between a Methodist church and a Baptist church and a Pentecost, just whoever was going to church, kids go to church.
Kids are going with them.
Yep.
Now the parents too?
No.
Okay, no. Gotcha. Check.
Well, they come to church on Easter. That's the only day they come to church. Yeah.
I get that one, man.
Yeah, so me and my sister went all the time.
Check. I guess that's not necessarily a bad thing.
No.
At least when you're young, growing up, building a foundation. So just you and your sister?
Yep.
Okay, and she's older, younger?
She's 4 years younger.
4 years younger.
Yep.
Okay, so you're the older brother. Check.
I always got in trouble because of her. For some reason, it was always my fault.
Yeah, like what?
Everything. She could fail a math test. It's my problem because I didn't tutor her enough. Yeah. Because 2 + 2 always equals 5.
Just one of those things.
Yeah, just one of those things.
Yeah. Check. And so, what about sports growing up?
Everything.
Everything.
Played basketball, played football. Our school was very small, so I think we graduated 112 people.
Yeah, I
so
had a school like that.
We just got, I think, soccer the year I graduated.
Nice.
And we only started with women's soccer. There was no male soccer, so we only had like baseball, football.
You had the money. You had the money maker.
Yeah. So,
yeah.
So football, basketball was my big thing.
Yeah. Well, you're a pretty tall guy.
Yeah. Well, I was a defensive end and tight end.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's what I would think you would be.
Yeah.
When I look at you, you're a pretty decent sized dude. You like that, I assume, smashing the shit out of people on both ends.
Love crackbacking people.
Yeah, I was going to say, dude, I was a wide receiver for a couple years in high school, and that was one of my favorite things. They're going to run that sweep around my side, and I get to hit that linebacker, and he doesn't know I'm coming, man. Think about it now. We probably damaged a lot of people. Damaged ourselves even from the onset.
multiple CTEs.
Oh,
growing up.
Dude, bad times. Bad times.
Our pads was probably 25 years old.
Yeah, and then you join the Marine Corps, right?
Yeah.
And your head's like, what the fuck are you doing to me?
And we're still using the same pads we used in high school.
Same
20 years ago.
Same shit.
Yeah.
The NFL can make a documentary telling you how bad it is, and parents are like, yeah, but there's always that chance.
Take some Ultron, take a knee, drink some water. You're good.
Yeah, dude. Get hard.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you did that all the way through? When did you start getting competitive in sports? Early?
Oh, real early. I actually just found my playbook from midget A ball when I was 12, and I sent it to a buddy of mine. We played all the way through. Oh, okay. And I'm like, hey, here's our playbook. He's like, holy shit, how'd you? I was like, I don't know. It was in a notebook.
It was in a box, dude.
It was in a box my mom sent me. I just opened 20 years later. Yeah, and it had all our routes and everything. Like, yeah, it was pretty cool.
That's dope.
And that was like 12 years old.
Okay, so you're like Pee Wee League, getting into it, and then I assume you play all the way through high school.
Yeah, I played all the way through high school.
Oh yeah, dude. Dude, that's some of the funnest times of your life too. Like when you look back, of course, there's other things that have completely overshadowed that as far as joyous. I mean, kids and a wife is amazing. Those joys. Leading Marines later in my life was joys. But like when I think of some of the greatest times growing up, at least that I can remember, the greatest memories, it's like the whole football team holding hands, walking down to the field, and everybody's, that's where like that team.
Some of the toughest times too.
Some hard times. It's not fun losing. It's not fun hurting.
Being the first year on varsity, getting that initiation,
Oh man. Yeah,
or
start you
now
off
they
right.
call hazing, just initiation.
Shit. Well, I think at my school we didn't have too much of that bad. It wasn't real bad.
It wasn't bad.
It was silly stuff. It was not like Marine Corps hazing.
No,
let's say 2000s. This wasn't that.
No.
I've heard those stories, and that's not cool either. But yeah, there's something that comes to that, right? It's like a ownership.
Yeah.
Of being part of something bigger than yourself, and that's kind of where that starts.
It's just like going through boot camp. You earn.
Yep, you earn a little bit each time, and then by the end of it, you're there, right? So, pretty cool. So, anything notable from the football team that you have to say? Usually somebody that played football had some crazy story that they had to tell me about.
I did one time. They put me as a split end.
Okay.
It was supposed to be like wide receiver screen, and it was coming to me.
Okay.
All the blockers fell through.
Oh, good.
They crushed my face. It actually bent my helmet, and the tooth that used to be here was permanently loose. They couldn't fix it.
It's just bad.
Knocked me out like this, and the next play I was back. They gave me some of that smelling stuff. Next play I was in. I was like,
Were you like right here when you got hit?
No, the ball didn't even make it to me.
Oh boy.
The ball was from here 10 feet away, and all three of them just crushed me.
Whammy.
Yeah. that was probably one or two only times my parents came to the game, and they're like, "Oh God, what's going on? What's going on? You gotta quit." Like,
Oh my goodness.
Turn right back around on defense and had to do something.
Damn. So your parents are together. No, stepdad, you said.
Yeah, stepdad.
But they didn't come to much.
No,
Is this work related stuff? Or
Nah, it's just
in their own
in their
world kind of stuff.
in their own world. I grew up in a very, I wouldn't say racist, but a very divided town. Like we had the KKK shut down our school for 3 days.
Oh my God.
I didn't know they still rode horses.
I didn't either.
And this is 2000. I'm like, I saw this on movies. What the hell is going on?
Where's this at?
This was in North Mobile County of Alabama.
Yeah. Okay.
I was like, is this really a thing? I don't know. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah, that's.
I thought that was like old school, like 1940 stuff.
What was the topic? What was the issue?
3 black guys jumped 1 white guy.
In the year 2000, that brought the KKK out.
Yeah. White sheets and everything. I'm like,
God, dude.
Yeah.
That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
It's fucking embarrassing to me. Anyway.
Yeah, like I was one of the only few white people that even played in the whole county of basketball. I filed. I'd get a technical.
Were you a center?
I was.
Okay, imagine that. You were the fouler.
I wouldn't even be on the court and get a foul. What? I'd be on the bench. Technical, 25. The coach stand up and be like, "What? He's on the bench."
What? Because they didn't like you?
I was the only white guy there.
Yeah. Well, racism goes both ways.
Yeah.
It's all embarrassing and beneath human beings, in my opinion. So.
We all bleed red.
Yeah, it's all the same stuff.
Yep.
Yeah. So, state championships, big games? No, not there. Look, I graduated, I think, with 96 kids or 99 kids. It was real low like that too. We had very small school. We didn't have soccer ever while I was there. Didn't have a swimming team. There's no JROTC. It was like track, baseball, football, wrestling. And you didn't do one of those, and you went somewhere else to play a sport.
Yeah, we didn't have wrestling, but we did have tennis.
No, we didn't have no tennis.
Because we had a golf course, a fancy golf course, so a small percentage of people had money.
That a small percentage of people could go to.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they let the school use the tennis courts.
Yep.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, I mean, that's good that they're doing that, but I don't know if we had tennis. Now, like, I could be wrong. There could have been an outreach pool that I just didn't know about. It was never on my purview, never in my radar, but I didn't try to swim. But so, what years are you in school?
I graduated 02.
Graduated 02. So you're in high school and 9/11 takes place. How'd that affect you?
I joined the delayed entry program 12 days before 9/11.
Hey, so you still would before. You could claim it.
August 30th, 2001. Yeah.
Wow.
And then we're sitting in homeroom and all that happens.
Yeah, so you shipped the next year for boot camp, right?
Yeah.
So you dipped in early. Well, talk about that with your parents. How'd that go down?
My dad was in the Army for a decent amount of time.
The stepdad?
No, my real
Your
dad.
real dad,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah, my stepdad.
And by this time, you know him, you've met him and stuff. And now, is he more of a part of your life at that time after you meet him? Okay,
yeah.
okay.
I talk to him once, twice a week now.
Still?
Not so much to my mom, but yeah.
Really? Okay.
Yeah. My wife talks more to my mom. I talk more to my dad.
Okay, check.
Yeah, but it was weird. I was in homeroom when all that happened, and I'm like, where's the Twin Towers at? Is that in California? I don't know.
Didn't even know about him, right? Me either.
I didn't know I didn't know that was in New York City. And everybody's like, oh my God, John, you joined the Marine Corps. Are you going off for war tomorrow? I'm like, no, I'm still in high school. I don't
Still
go
in
to
high
boot
school
camp.
till next year?
Yeah, I don't go to boot camp until May. Yeah, it was a little weird. Mom got scared, tried to talk me out of it a few times.
That's what I was
Yeah.
wondering, because like all of those guys that joined in our kind of beginning generation, that first generation coming in, 9/11 generation, parents weren't overly thrilled about it if it was post 9/11.
Yeah, well, and this was my way out, was to join the military. Nobody ever graduated high school in my immediate family, maybe some cousins and stuff. Mom, dad didn't graduate. My stepdad didn't graduate, I'm like, I got to get out of this place. I don't need to be stuck in moonshining and running meth and crazy stuff like that, because that's what happens in the countries of Alabama. So.
Time to break the cipher.
Yep.
Well, that's great.
Get the hell out of there.
And sometimes that's what you got to do. You got to break out. If you're in a situation like that, yeah, man, you're going to be guaranteed some food, guaranteed some money.
Yep.
Some adventure for sure.
Definitely a place to sleep. 3 hots and a cot.
That's right. That's right. Didn't promise you a rose garden, but we got you covered.
Exactly. Yeah. Was that a pun on my name? Rose?
It was. And on the Marine Corps recruiting poster. Yeah, man. So your mom, you dep in, you finish high school, and then
I wasn't supposed to go to like July.
Is it Paris Island?
Yeah, Paris Island.
Okay, I wasn't sure.
Yeah, wasn't supposed to go to like July, and the recruiter called me. Hey, I got an open seat. You want to go tomorrow? I'm like,
but you do have an open seat. War just broke out.
I'm like, hell yeah, let's go.
Hell yeah. And you 03?
No, I'm Motor T.
Yeah, Motor T.
Well, I went in open contract.
You just said, let's go. Put me where you need me.
Let's go. Put me where you need me. I wanted to go Intel or communications. No jobs available. They was like, well, we can make you an aircraft mechanic. I'm like, nah,
dog.
Nah, I'm not seeing anything. Do you got anything else? So it's like, well, we can put you ground option. I'm like, what's that mean? That was like, you could be Motor T, you could be an MP, and like 4 or 5 other jobs. I'm like, okay, cool. And then find out after boot camp, hey, 35, 31.
35, 31.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It's like, you made it. I'm like, okay.
Now, and what is that exactly?
So it's a motor vehicle operator. So we drive Humvees, 7 tons. I finished top of the class. So I went to the advanced school, which back in the day was 3533s, which is LVS operators. Okay. So we drove all the bigger trucks, the 18-wheelers.
Is that the wreckers and stuff like that too?
So that's a different MOS. Yeah. So that's a secondary MOS. That's a 3536.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then 3534s are the refuelers. Yeah.
Check.
Yeah.
Check.
That was a horrible place. Fort Lost in the Woods, Missouri.
Bad times.
The only thing they had there was a hotel.
Was that Leonardwood? You said
Fort
Lost in
Leonardwood.
Woods?
Yeah. Yep.
I had a buddy that was an instructor out there for a number of years after you had went through, but he didn't call it Lost in Woods, but he had some names for it.
Yeah. The only thing there, they had like a micro hotel, like like the one that used to be out by Toby's that you could pay by the hour.
Yeah, the triangle.
Yeah. They had their version of the triangle, like 3 strip clubs and a Walmart. That was it.
Boom. That's all you need when Marines are around, I guess.
That's like Jacksonville in the early 2000s. And quite a few tattoo parlors.
Yeah. You got to have more than one of those.
Yeah.
Some of them ran out of business, like homes and frog rooms upstairs, but that's okay. That's the kind I like. Prefer those ones.
Just ink. They just take an ink, stick out a needle and toothpaste, and like, oh, we got you.
Let me sharpen this down. Dude, I get my work done out of the house. Guy's phenomenal, but just doesn't want to have a business front, I guess. So, hey, that's to each his own. Hell yeah. So, what they do when I was in high school, they wheeled in a TV, like a box TV on a cart.
Yep. That's exactly
what they did with you guys too.
I think in homeroom, I'm trying to remember, it may have been a box TV, or we had like one of those little tiny, like 14-inch TVs.
Yeah, because now kids got TVs like all over the schools.
Yeah.
And they're in every room, and they're flat screen LCD 4K, grace. They like pushed a cart in, turned a knob.
With the VCR. Hey, John, go over there and move the antenna. Okay. Don't take your finger off of it. Because that was the same way at the house. Like, we got 3 channels, because we had that big, because we lived in a trailer, had that big, like, 40-foot antenna you got to go out there and twist. When it rained, you picked up another channel, but you lost one channel. So you always got 3 channels in PBS.
Oh,
but,
yeah. The president, Flipper.
Your night's ruined.
It's over.
And I'm the one that always has to go out there when it's lightning to turn the, it's raining, John, go out there and turn it. I'm like, I can't do that from inside. I can just reach through the window. No, go outside. Oh, we don't open up the window. Oh, you'll mess up the whatever. I'm like, okay. Run out there and stop. Take your hands off. Nope. Put them back on.
Hold. Yeah. Well, things are better now.
Yeah. I don't have to do that anymore.
I don't have that problem anymore.
Yeah. Well, I had a kid, so he can do it.
That's right.
I'm going to have an antenna out there that doesn't even hook up to anything, just to have him go out there.
Just have him go out there and hold it?
Yep, just go out there and hold it. Turn it. Okay, you're good. Come back in. Nope, go back out there. Yeah.
No. That's funny.
Turn Flipper on every now and then. Just, sorry, this is all we can watch.
Welcome to my childhood. So you got out of there. You shipped for boot camp.
Yep.
And that's 2002.
2002, yeah.
Yep, 2002. And you go to Paris Island. Any PI stories?
No, I thought it was pretty easy.
Yeah, dude, I mean, some guys are...
It's all mental.
Some guys are like that. Some guys, it was like a capstone event in their life. And some guys are like, nah, everything that came after that in my career was way cooler than marching.
It's like, done.
Yeah, dude, it's such a small piece. And... like movies like Full Metal Jacket or Jarhead or whatever, they do a great job. And boot camp is like that. But then your career, dude, the things you do in your career afterwards are just so much, like it pales in comparison. Yeah. Like, it was just a small school when I was young and stupid and dumb and didn't know anything. Look at these things I did, or I got to experience here, or these people that I got to know here is way more worth talking about than, watching some kid piss on the line. Or, whatever stupid stories. I love hearing the stupid stories. Don't get me wrong.
Oh,
I'm not taking away from them. I love hearing them. But there's just two kinds of people. Guys that were all about that and guys that had things go on that kind of made that pale. So, ITB on the East Coast too, I assume. Or MCT?
Yeah, MCT.
Right out there at...
Camp Johnson
or Geiger, yeah. And you guys go out to like Devil Dog. Yeah, it sucks.
Like 28 days.
It's not fun.
Yeah.
You can get all the basic know-hows, the general common knowledge, common weapons, and then you go to Lost in Woods.
Yep.
And isn't that a longer school than like MCT for you?
So
guys?
The regular Moto T, I want to say, is 6 or 7 weeks, and then I went to an advanced course right after that,
which is there too, right?
Which is there too. Yeah. So I think that was another 4 or 5 weeks there.
Okay.
And the majority of it's backing up trailers because people don't know how to use them.
Driving experience and 3-point turns and stuff like that. Yeah. And then,
but with an 80-foot, with a 40-foot trailer.
Right. Yeah. Which is a much different, not fun.
Just a tad bit.
Yeah. Be sweet when we get to a point where they got the vehicles in the military that do everything. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Because it's not like it. I would have said it wasn't. We'd never see that. I don't feel that way no more.
No.
Like they're really honing in Tesla and some.
Oh, yeah.
All the other automakers now open up electric lines. It's just a matter of time. Got trucks that can back boats down by themselves now into a ramp. It's pretty cool.
That really helped the Motor T community with IEDs. That's our biggest thing is hitting IEDs.
Yeah.
It's a lot of money lost. And a lot of
money.
And a lot of people lost.
A lot of money, a lot of lives. Yeah, for sure. You know, and maybe this, we've been talking a lot about drones just because there's a lot to talk about drones right now, like redesigning the entire Marine Corps based off, Azerbaijan and Armenia drone war. And I think it's great.
Yeah.
Like we can send this piece of equipment out, this couple $1,000 piece of equipment instead of a life. And a lot of people hate it. And I'm not saying it's going to completely replace. We'll always have boots on deck.
Yeah.
For sure. You have to. I get that. But
I think that drone improves our lethality because we can see stuff out there way before the boots get there.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's all about seeing it beforehand, and then build your essay, and then, you can devise a better plan, better protections. It's just all around better. I just interviewed Lieutenant Colonel retired Wayne Phelps, who wrote on killing remotely. So he worked with Grossman, who wrote On Killing, and has a lot of adages from On Killing and On Combat and a lot of nods in the book. But it's basically the psychology of these RPAs, these remote piloted aircraft pilots. And it's like, yeah, I understand why they're having problems. Yeah. I had problems, and when I did a BDA, I went up and got guns, and I didn't pay attention to all the carnage. I made sure they were dead. These guys are hovering over top and circling for 6-7 hours watching these other people's kids come out and pick them up and put them in wheelbarrows. They're zooming in. They're following them. They're building this pattern of life with them over 6 months before they find an opportunity to strike them. There's a lot of intimacy there, and it's all coming through in high definition 4K right in front of them. And then couple that with the shift work, and then couple that with the fact that people are calling them pussies for having PTSD and symptoms. And it's like, you have no idea what you're talking about, dude.
Yeah.
He is in war watching it. Like, and it's not a video game. It's real, and he knows it's real.
I'm trying to think what show I watched the other day. It's probably about a year ago that it was a whole episode about that. A dude that's in Vegas somewhere, sitting in a box, controlling stuff. And, like, he goes crazy. Horrible PTSD. Like, he's going to buy strippers all the time and wasting all his money. And they're betting on, I bet you can't hit that target. And I couldn't imagine doing that.
Like, in situations where I'm helping an element on the ground, no factor. If they're calling in saying, I got this, and I'm over top and I see enemy maneuvering on them, no factor. I would never struggle. I would not. I'll watch them. I don't care. But I've done it on the ground before. And there's something in the book where he talks about they brought in guys that have been ground action guys, and I think it was 0% reported PTSD from piloting them and operating the sensors. So that's interesting. But when you take your life and put your skin in the game and you've done it, these other pilots haven't done that. So that is the most skin in the game they've had, which does something to the psyche. It's like if you were actually burned in a fire, you might not be so scared when a sparkler comes out, opposed to a smaller child that's never been burned by a fire, and then they see that, then they're like, oh my God, right?
I'm not doing that.
Right, that's the worst thing ever. But if you've actually been in a house fire and burned the hell up, sparkler's probably not going to trigger you to that, because you're like, it's just a sparkler, right? And so with these guys that never been in combat, and then I don't know about, I wasn't recruited. I didn't go through their schools, and their schools are good, I'm sure. But I think there was such a call for drones that they just opened it up because the MOS was exploding with the technology, and frontline troops and commanders were saying, hey, we need these drones. We need these drones at the cyclic rate, to the point where the Air Force opens up a whole MOS and starts dumping these guys into it. And they didn't sell them that they were going over there and they were going to be the air cav infantry.
Right.
You know what I mean? So they may have recruited in a bunch of guys because the need was that we need numbers, and they may have not vetted them the way, let's say, you would vet an 03 to come into the Marines, or a joint terminal air controller to come into the Air Force to go to attach with an ODA.
And I wonder if they're doing
training.
And I wonder if they're doing it now. But like the EOD community is now trying to get passed through Congress that before you go to EOD school, You get whatever brain check to find out where your brain's at right now from all the concussive stuff, all the blasts that go on.
And that's probably necessary, right?
Just in school, people are getting 10, 12, 15 concussions probably.
Well, think about it. Think about what they're doing. They're doing control debts and pops and shape charges. And it's like, we know now that all of those blows add a little bit, right?
Might not be a lot, but it adds a little bit. And that little bit plus a little bit plus a little bit equals a lot.
Yeah, and if you were somebody that banged your head against other people for your entire high school and middle school career, you already have a little bit. There's already a little bit. Then you go through SOI. Maybe you're the guy that fires the AT4 shot or the lull shot, and that's a little bit.
Doesn't say backblast aerial.
Well, fuck that. Just the concussion of firing the shot.
Yeah.
That's a blow. That's an explosion beside your head. It's not a huge one, but it's one. Yeah. And the weapons instructors that like advanced rockets and stuff, where they're going out and they're firing smalls and they're firing tow missiles and things of this nature. It's like just firing those now we know is affecting brains. Like we can prove that. These explosions. And I mean, that's kind of what happened to me. I didn't get hit by any of the shrapnel from mortars or anything like that, but I had 82s dropped way too close to me. Had a wall in between, but all that wave, that shock wave goes through everything. Goes right through the wall, right through your head, right through your ears, ruptured both my eardrums.
Huh?
That's why I got these turned up, Doc. I feel like a real human being when I'm on here because I can hear everything.
As soon as I put them on, I'm like, I feel like the old people on the commercial with the hearing aids. I'm like, I can hear everything.
Like, don't you just wish you could hear like this all the time?
Oh, yeah.
It'd be amazing. I can hear you breathe.
Except when my wife's talking. I'd have to take them off.
Well, that's the great thing about hearing aids. It's like, oh, I'm done with that. Dude, my dad's got these hearing aids, and they're like, maybe like the strongest hearing aids you can get before the cochlea implant. So they're serious. Well, they've gotten technology's come a long way. So like his phone calls go to his hearing aids and everything now. Shit. Oh yeah, his TV Bluetooth to his hearing aids. That's the thing. VA's got that.
Ooh.
Yeah, you can hook it up to your TV. Mine do that, but his are wicked. But he's so deaf that when he takes them out, it's nothing. Like he doesn't hear. You could be pounding like 5-0 pounding on the front door, and he don't hear that. Wow. He would feel it before he would hear it, kind of thing. So he's divorced now. Got that all wrapped up now, but. It would be funny because if he didn't want to hear somebody, he'd just turn them things off. And he wouldn't even know. And he'd be like, Dad, hey! And he'd be like, I can't stand listening to that. Like, oh my goodness. And it's not just, his significant others. It would be anything he didn't want to listen to. All you got to do is turn it off and you're there. Like, can you imagine if it's like, hey, I got to work. You heard nothing.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
Or turn it up and just put your ear, throw your music on your phone and boom, it goes Bluetooth to your head. All right, and you hear nothing else. Yeah, it's great.
That'd be amazing.
It's great.
Because all day at work, everybody's just over there. Hey, Master, can you help me with this? I'm actually doing work. Sure.
I was just standing here drinking a cup of coffee, I guess, wasn't I? No? Roger that. What can I do for you?
You see me typing, and I'm on the phone, and you still ask me, can you do something? Yeah. Sure, yeah.
I got you. I'm here for you, Double Dog.
Exactly.
But you are.
Yeah. Always.
And you do it, right?
I do.
All right. All right, so out of Leonardwood, you get your credentials, you get your school done, and you go to who?
Okie.
Oh, good.
This was during Stop Loss, Stop Move. So it was like 1 Lance Corporal per 2 NCOs. And it was just angry people that couldn't get out of the Marine Corps because Stop Loss, Stop Move happened.
Yeah, that starts a special dynamic within the ranks, doesn't it?
Weird.
You got some salty dudes that don't want to go.
Well, that's when you say, I, Senior Lance Corporal.
That's what you used to.
Yeah. Like the Lance Corporals had formation in the morning. They turn around, the Senior Lance Corporal turn around to the Corporal. Hey, Corporal, we're good. The Corporal turn around to the Sergeant. Sergeant, we're good. Okay, march him to motor pool. Mm-hmm. Because nobody had cars there. Mm-hmm. We wasn't allowed unless you was married. So
we weren't either.
We marched to the motor pool. Mm-hmm. Okay, this is what we're doing today. Lunchtime, form it back up. March to the chow hall. Form it up outside the chow hall. March back to the motor pool.
Dang, you guys got treated like recruits.
Yeah.
That was a little bit like that through SOI, but after we got to the fleet, it was much, much worse.
Well, we had a lot of people, like when I was there, a lot of people was getting in trouble with DUI, or not DUIs, but like drunk in public, trying to whoop like an Okinawan cop or something, and you're like, why would you ever try to do that? Underage drinking was big.
I think it's always been a thing.
Yeah. It was super big in Okie because I think the drinking age
is like nothing else.
It's like 15.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So anybody could just go out and get it as long as they didn't get out of control and get found out. Yeah.
Off base. Don't try to do it on base.
Yeah, you still got American rules there.
Yeah. But you could go out in town and buy a case of Budweiser for, I think it was like $65 at 15 years old. You're paying, but
You get it.
You'll get it.
How bad do you want it?
Yep.
Yeah, dude. Okay. So you guys did a lot of training out there?
Yeah, we did. Went out to Australia one time that was very, very, very fun.
Yeah, I've heard stories about Australia that seem very enticing.
There's a lot of stories I can tell you offline.
Yeah, we won't go into all those.
Yeah, we won't go into all those.
Did you ever watch a guy box a kangaroo, though?
No, we had a dude split his dome open.
Boxing a kangaroo?
By a frog. So
Tell
you
me
know
that
the old ambulances, the old metal ambulances, and they had 2 stretchers on each side. Mm-hmm. So we was getting ready to move out the next morning. He was like our senior corporal that was with us. Decided to sleep in there that night. Leave the doors open. It's hot.
Yeah.
You know? So he leaves the door open. A frog jumps on his face. He sits up and hits the top rail like 7 stitches across the top of his forehead. Yes. Yeah, it was. We almost ran over a bunch of cows. The Aborigines just showed up one day. I was like, "What the hell are y'all doing here?" Because they're just out there. We're in the middle of the bush. Weird stuff would just show up.
That is weird.
Yeah, we had some kangaroos chase us one time. That was pretty scary.
Because you can't shoot a kangaroo over there, huh?
Well, none of us had live rounds.
I'm not fighting them either. I've seen the videos.
So I thought they was smaller. They're in this field. Grass is probably 3-4 foot tall. So we get out of the 7-ton. And we're like, oh, let's see how close we can get to them. The air pressure goes off on the 7-ton. You know how it goes. They all stand up and they're like 7 foot tall. I'm like, oh my God. They look at us. We look at them and we're like, oh shit.
Seen enough.
Start running and we hop back up in the truck and they're just all kind of sitting outside the truck like, come on.
What do y'all want? Y'all wanted something?
Y'all want some? Come get some. Yeah,
What was that snaky sound you just made?
Yeah, so that was really fun.
Dude, with animals, the only animals that ever, I think, fucked with me when I was in and moving around was in Afghanistan, and it was camels. We came across an angry batch of camels one time, and I told one of my guys to shoot it, but the colonel was right there, and they were like, no, don't shoot it, because there's a problem. But this camel was charging. Oh, and we shot a cow and killed a cow because of it too. Cow charged us. Weird things, man, that you come across in places that you didn't think.
I thought the camel spiders in Iraq was going to mess with us, but we never saw one.
I seen them in Afghanistan, never seen them in Iraq.
Yeah.
In Afghanistan, my machine gun buddy Herbie, one of my best friends, he got bit by one, I think. He woke up and it looked like a burn mark, purple burn mark. And I'm awake.
Yeah.
And he's like, dog, did you burn me? I'm like, yeah, dude. In the middle of the night after you fell asleep, I went and got an iron and I heated it up until it was red hot and I burned you. You didn't even wake up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I burned you. No, it was one of the, because we got in a little war with them spiders that night. We were playing spades and we're up against some Hesco. And one of them skitters come right down onto our table. And we're like, kill it! We didn't kill it in time, but we did wound it. Well, it's I don't know if they have pheromones or something.
No, he went back and told all his buddies, let's go get these motherfuckers.
Dude, it's what it felt like. They came out of the woodworks. And we had a patrol out in an ambush. A security patrol laying in an ambush, just kind of watching this. It's like a little canal that they used to try to sneak up and put IDs on the road. And they heard us screaming about the spiders, like, "Oh shit!" And we're taking butt stocks to these motherfuckers, dude. And they came out of everywhere, and there was you could hear them running across the sand. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is real." The security patrol picked up the ambush. Charette, the co-host, and Matt, he come back with the guys "Are you guys good? Because we went to war with these skitters, dude."
Everybody gets combat action.
It wasn't that big of a deal, but it was just you just don't expect them to rally and come at you. Yeah. And so when they did that, we're like, all right, war, motherfuckers. And we all, there was 10 of them. There's 4 of us awake, and we just went to work. Well, then he went to bed, and I think one of them spiders got him.
They attacked the weakest person.
He definitely wasn't the weakest person.
Well, he was the only one sleeping.
He killed the most of them.
Oh, did he?
I don't know if they honed in on that or...
Is he gonna see your tattoo guy and just start getting stripes for killed spiders?
He needs to.
Yeah,
he needs to. Or just get the spider.
Just get the spider.
One little spider for each one you killed.
And one teardrop spider.
A teardrop. Or it's a teardrop with a spider crawling on top of it. Do you like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood skulls for all of his kills? Fun little note. He was a badass. Yeah. If you didn't know, now you know. Okay, so Okinawa, significant events there?
Nah, not really. Or
kind of smooth in the
yeah,
beginning?
it was pretty smooth. I got an NJP while I was over there. That was
picked one up.
That was fun.
One of Chesty's movies. I like it. What'd you do?
I was the senior guy at a party, and it was my going away party. They said I bought them alcohol. I was underage myself. They was fucking around because we moved from. I don't know if you've been to Oki before, but you know how they have the little pavilions outside the barracks, like even at Lejeune, we was out there having playing spades and bones, and everybody was having a good time. Shit, my platoon sergeant was there. Mm-hmm. They all left. We moved up to the third deck lounge, and some dude was like, tapped the dude in the nuts. He turned around and pushed him. He tripped, split the back of his head open on a concrete wall.
Good.
So I'm like, I'm fucking out of here. I leave tomorrow. Go sign out the duty logbook. Like, hey, sign me out 10 minutes ago.
See you guys.
Yeah. Sign me out 10 minutes ago. Yeah, that didn't work out too good.
No.
I was on legal hold for the next 3 months.
Oh, my God. How'd that turn out?
Kept my rank.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. We
they weren't too mad at you then.
They was.
Did it go to the colonel?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, good.
Yeah. Yeah. The battalion commander was the one that.
He's not happy about that.
He was not, but what he did, there was 4 of us. Mm-hmm. 2 NCOs, no, there was 5 of us. 2 NCOs and 3 Lance Corporals. Mm-hmm. So he made us earn everything. So our NJP lasted 3 different times. So the first time, he's like, how much do you want to keep your rank? Tomorrow, 1,500 word essay on the importance of X. Next morning, we're standing outside of his hatch, 7:30 with a 1,500 page. Now, back then...
Page?
No, word.
I was like, damn, I'd take my rank.
And that's a piece.
I'm pretty dead.
I just got meritorious promoted like the month before that.
Oh my God. So you're a Lance or you're corporal?
I was a corporal.
Oh, good. So you're an NCO.
Yeah. So because I'm an NCO, I'm in charge. Mm-hmm. You know, not these
There's
days.
a wealth of literature though in that creed that you could put 1,500 words together.
Yeah. I'm sure there is. But back then, we only had like 1 computer per company or per platoon. So we're all at the motor pool.
Oh, you didn't hand jam these? You guys typed them up professional? Good.
Yeah, so we're all at the motor pool till like 4 o'clock in the morning. Like, hey man, can I hop on the computer real quick? No, I'm almost done. Like, and me and the corporal was letting Lance Corporals do their stuff first, and we're like, come on, hurry up. So we're like hand jamming our stuff. Then I'm trying to translate what I wrote.
What is this?
Yeah, what is this word? Joe Nathan? No, that's Jonathan. You know. Yeah, and then the next time we went in, how much do we want to save our paycheck? So then we had to give like an hour and a half PME, like the old Beating the Blues class we used to get after Christmas. Yeah. We had to give that to the battalion, the entire battalion, which is like 1,400 people. Yeah. On leadership and how your actions have reactions to other people. So we went through the whole skit of what happened that day. Mm-hmm. And then the last one we had the NJP. So no money, no rank, no restriction.
Time served.
No EPD, but I had to supervise EPD every day. So I didn't have EPD, but I had to show up and supervise. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Fun.
Yeah. Good times. And then headed back to the States.
Yeah. Deployment 1 wrapped.
Yeah.
Got you an NJP, kept your rank.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a good box to punch right there. Yeah. Had fun. Didn't pay fully for it.
Yeah.
Learned a little something.
Learned a lot.
Improved our writing skills.
Yeah. It's still a little rough, but
I was gonna say, how many of your guys' shit was exactly alike?
I don't know.
I'm just saying, because if you're all sitting there like, hey dude, let me use your computer. Hey, what'd you write? Hey, how many words you got? Hey, what'd you put? I need a fluff builder. I could just see it, dude. I could just see it. It would be me. Yeah. Hey, what'd you? I'm like 1,300, dude. I need 200 words. What do you got?
I'm from Alabama, so I just kept saying and the
Oxford comma, sir. I learned it. Yeah. That's funny, dude. Okay, so you get back stateside and it's just you fall into a new workup, or
as soon as
you're a corporal.
As soon as we get back, I'm a corporal. Check into Lejeune. We're on the hatch to go to Iraq and fall right into workups. Go to
03.
This was 04.
04 at this time. Okay, that's when I came in. So I'm just now coming through boot camp. All right.
Yeah, I was over at 2nd TSB, just getting ready, spun up, because the whole battalion back then they don't deploy. Just it's like a company reinforced.
Yeah.
So you'll have like the battalion OPSO is the OIC or something like that.
And then you're just getting general supported out to
Right.
our guys, basically,
Yep.
and then running log trains and supply run stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Cool. And so your workup, and what do you guys do for like your culminating event? Are you out there at CAX at the time? You guys do CAX like we did?
Yeah.
You're just attached to one of our groups that's going through?
Yep. And we do all the running the rails and all the range 400s. I'm like, why am I doing this? I'm driving a truck. And then we get to Iraq and I'm like, okay, I know why I'm doing this.
I did this. It made sense. Dude, I said that shit about hiking my entire career. Hated hikes. I felt like they did nothing but hurt Marines. And it was stupid. Boy, hated them. Did a McCree when I checked into 3.6. Well, it wasn't really a McCree, but it was like 22 and a half miles. Supposed to be 20 miles, and we took a wrong left on the tank trail, added 2.5. It was horrible.
Did y'all have like a second lieutenant who was leading y'all?
No, the Colonel
awesome.
Christmas, 3.6 renowned. And we got back from that and got to the softball field. Not only that, we dropped packs. We've been going for like, 8 hours or something. We started like in the evening, like 10 o'clock maybe, because it was cooler. And it was like 7 a.m. when we got done or something, right? So everybody's done. We drop packs, and we're not done, turns out. Now everybody needs to put a tug-of-war team together from each element, and then we're going to have a tournament of tug-of-war. And, I mean, you know how it is just to do a regular hike. Yeah. But then to do an all the way up, all guns, all tripods, all A-bags, all everything, and go for 20 miles on the Cadillacs, man, you're not in good shape to pull a rope. But there was a message, and there was a point to it, because and I remember the colonel saying this that day. We got done, and of course I got voluntold to go pull a rope, and we weren't going to beat weapons company. These guys are jacked. Yeah. You know, all they do is work out and eat and whatever. They're always bigger. So we get out there, we lose, but the point was, the 20-mile hike was the movement to the objective, and now we got to war. You need to be ready after that and dig down wherever it is you go inside your soul and find that thing that says, now we're here, and I know I'm hurt, but now I need to do work. Now it's time to go. Full send all the way, let's go. And I hated it. Even that night, I went back, I was cussing it like the whole bottoms of everybody in my squad's feet was basically gone. One big blister. You know, you getting in the shower and blood's just pouring out of your thighs and your groin and your ass cracks chafed and everything's. Then we got to Marja, and we did the 17-click clear where some of it was under fire and fighting, and it's like, because you know what? It wasn't the worst. Yeah. It wasn't the worst my feet had felt. It wasn't the most tired I had ever been. It wasn't the hottest I had ever been. And that day, the only thing I could think about was,
I wish I would have done tug of war.
Boys, that hike was worse than this.
Yeah.
That was harder. And they were like, yeah. So when you have something worse to go to, it's like, okay, this isn't the worst then. Yeah. Right? You know, it does something for you mentally. So, yeah, there's a purpose to that stuff for sure. For sure. So you do the full workup. You do the CAX. You go range 400. What infantry unit do you guys go with? You remember?
Was with, I want to say 3.6 and 1.2. No, 1.6 and 1.2.
1.6 and 1.2.
Yeah, 1.6 and 1.2.
And are you deploying? They're deploying too, obviously, if they're at CAC. So now you guys get a little link up. You get a little operating time with each other, which is smart. Yeah. I think we've come a long way with some of that stuff. And now you're going to be supporting these guys on this next deployment.
Exactly.
Right? So, and then you come back from CAX. I assume you do some kind of pre-deployment leave.
Yeah, we get like 10 days, and then because we wasn't supposed to. Don't want to dump that over.
No.
I don't think we were supposed to deploy as quick, but something happened. Somebody fell out, or something happened, and we got shooted up. Yeah.
Yep. And where do you go?
We go to Fallujah.
Oh, good.
05, yeah, right after Phantom Fury.
Right after.
So we get there like January, February of 05.
Oh, yeah. A lot of my SOI stick went to Fallujah too. Like they graduated, combat replaced into units there, and then pushed. My roommate from boot camp, Peyton Williams, did too. Yeah, and Fallujah 2 was Phantom Fury was no joke. I mean, going in the first time and getting pushed back out, that's like, okay, this is going to be tough. But then you go in. I was just at a retirement for Matt Piano up at the museum in Quantico, and he was there. He got shot in the head in Fallujah. Hard as woodpecker lips. Great leader, great mentor, great dude. But he took one to the running lights there, and he ended up being my platoon sergeant over at SOI at ITB. With the tactics instructor group for a while. Got to hear some of his some of his tales of going through Fallujah. And you can look it up. There's a great, for any of the listeners out there that want to see a little piece of that, there's a great video on YouTube where they got Seether in the background, out of my way. And it's the Thundering Third going in and just absolutely decimating the fighters of Fallujah. Just absolutely getting after it. And I watched that video coming in, like, yes. And then got to show those kind of videos later on to other Marines. So, amazing. But, so Fallujah, Phantom Fury is taking place, and it's not like it's okay, awesome place to be still, but it had a little bit of...
Oh, yeah. I think Fallujah still had a curfew, so nobody could leave Fallujah after like 1800 at night. You couldn't... I think the gates was open like 7 in the morning to 1800 at night. Mm-hmm. We had to bring in all the X-ray machines, X-ray everybody. The bad thing about it is everything pushed out. Mm-hmm. So we had to go through Karma. We had to go through all these other towns where they're making tons of IEDs and making all kinds of crazy stuff. Mm-hmm. And then we go up. What the hell is the name of the town? It was north of Fallujah. And somebody had a good idea because we was a motor T company and we had attached MPs. Mm-hmm. Let's do MSR security. We can help the grunts out.
Like route clearance?
No, we just go post up.
If they need help
on a bridge.
Guns waiting?
Well, no, we'd post up on a bridge from midnight to 06 and just wait for backlays. Mm-hmm. But we made this crazy-ass gun vehicle. So, a regular 7-ton only has a turret. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the old pedestals that was in the back of Humvees? Yeah. So we welded 2 of those in the back of the 7-ton.
So they could run up?
No, so we would have 3 crew serve weapons per 7-ton when we post up on these.
Get after it.
Yeah. So we'd have a 240, a 50, and a Mark.
Fucked up if you hit that vehicle.
Best not come around us. Yeah. But then we're going out like all through ITX or CAX or whatever the hell they call it now. We're doing all these foot patrols, and I'm like, I'm motor T. Why the fuck am I doing this? Mm-hmm. There's no reason I should be going on. I got a truck. I got a crew serve gun. If I can go through that house, I can just drive through it. Mm-hmm. Every night we go on foot patrol. I'm like,
that's why.
I'm like, why?
Well, it kind of became that, and even later, like when I was in Marja, they had guys that I think it was 210 golf battery maybe that were here's a golf battery 210, an artillery unit, and they're providing all of their own local security. Oh, yeah. They're doing security patrols, and if that turns into a contact patrol, then so be it. You better be ready to fight your arty squad through it. And they did. Like, they got to a point where they were. And I remember coming home from that. I went over to 210 because it was our fires officer took a company over there at 210. And he had me and Herbie, my machine gunner with the spider bite, and a couple other guys come over there and run patrolling exercises with them. And I dug in IEDs for them, the simulators, and blew them up and just gave them a taste of it because they were about to go back for Marja 2. And he knew what the guys did when we were there. So he didn't want his arty guys like not being spun up, knowing that they were probably going to man an AO from their gun firing line and have to run those security patrols and stuff. And that's something out there for you guys. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what your MOS is when you have a main operation going down, and you should be paying attention. If you're motor T, if you're artillery, you are going to find yourself. If you're not paying attention, you're going to find yourself in a desperate situation when you get to country, and you can't stay in the crew serve weapon truck and drive through a house. And your command says, "Oh no, you're going on the daddies today. Yeah. Put your boots on."
Shit, a third of my platoon in Afghanistan wasn't motor T.
See what I'm saying? Yeah.
And I mean, like, do you know how to? You see that D button? That means drive. You see the R button? That's reverse. Brake, gas, go.
No key. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. Push. Don't worry about key. Yeah.
Keep your fucking foot on the gas until I say something else.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Did you guys have like speed limits in the beginning? When you first got there, I know in the very beginning they didn't really, but
we kind of ish.
You guys were moving a lot faster than we are today, right? Or not?
Yeah. We was probably Afghanistan was a little different because there was only one road.
Yeah.
But Iraq, we'd probably push 45, 50 miles an hour.
Yeah,
because we're driving a lot from Fallujah, Al Assad, because they was building all the Iraqi forces up right there beside Fallujah, so we drive them up through HIT all the way to Al Assad, and that was the best convoys ever because Al Assad had a pool.
No shit.
Yeah, and when we drove there, we always got 5 hours rest time.
Pool.
4 hours and 45 minutes of that time in the pool.
Yeah.
Like the pool's all clean. We all get in, we get out. The pool's brown,
murky.
Like what the? I haven't had a shower in 3 days.
What do you want from me? What do you want from me? Yeah, we never had pools.
They had a.
But I know that I know a lot of guys did. A lot of guys that got in the inner cities had the mansions and some decent setups. In Rahwah, we had a real big house, but didn't have a pool. Or it was just outside of Rahwah, I suppose.
Okay. They had a Pizza Hut there and a coffee place. It was amazing.
Yes, I saw it had a lot.
Yeah, that's where all the wingers went.
I went through Alkheim. They had a lot too. They
did
had
they?
They had a lot when I wasn't there very long, but the little bit of time I was there. And we ended up operating out like at Camp Gannon, Syrian border side. Yeah. And then we finished up in Rahwah as like site security. That was like 07 time frame.
Okay.
06 maybe. No, 07. Yeah, that's wild, dude. Yeah, I always wondered about the speed limits because sometimes it's like, okay, I get it. There's a lot of IDs in there. You got to watch it. And then sometimes it's like, dude, get off the road and get to me. Yeah. Like, damn the speed limit. I need some help.
Well, that was a good thing about us in Iraq. We had an MP company with us. Mm-hmm. So they would shoot up 2, 3, 4 clicks ahead of us, clearing the road.
That makes it nice.
So they tell us, okay, we got to slow down. We're running a little robot thing to check this out. Mm-hmm. But they'd be up 3, 4, 5 clicks ahead of us.
Yeah, that's nice. I never had to do that, man. I was always on my feet. I was helicopter company almost virtually every unit I was in. So I didn't have to worry about route clearance. Some of our guys got trucks in the last one, and they got blown up running supplies up to like us outposts and stuff like that. And it's just such a desperate, like, you have to go, you have to take it. You're quite certain that you're going to get blown up. At least your convoy. You don't know if it's going to be your truck or not. Right. But and IDs, man, from the beginning came a long way, and they're using potent ass shit now. Oh, yeah. So and you guys were facing mainly like double and triple stack 155s, right?
Yeah. A few
at least in Iraq.
Yeah. I did one mission with I don't remember what recon unit it was, but it was one of the recon units. It was south of Fallujah, down in, I want to say, Sidon or something like that. It was like 20 clicks south. They had a blown up 7-ton. It's been there for like 15 months. Mm-hmm. They go sweep through this town. They're like, hey, we need to recover this vehicle. It has no tires on it. The Iraqis have stripped everything they could off of it. So we drive out there with a tank wrecker, an 88, because that's the only thing that's going to pick up a 7-ton. Yeah. Roll out there. I hook up the guidelines on it. The Sergeant Major COs with us, like the regimental, because they're out in TQ. Mm-hmm. They're with us on that trip, and I'm like, oh, I can't fuck shit up today. Got the bosses here. Hook the 88 up to it, bring that 7-ton up about 5 foot, and all of a sudden an anti-tank mine falls out. And I think I shit my pants a little bit just thinking about it.
You watched it fall out?
Yeah, and I'm like, all I hear is the 88 zip out. It closes. They're like not moving, and I'm holding this guideline. I'm like, what the fuck do I do? What do I do?
What do I do with my hands? I'm new.
And everybody's like, run. So I just kind of slowly put the guideline down, run behind a building. Their EOD dude comes out, silkies, shower shoes.
Of course.
No shirt on.
Coolest guys in the Marine Corps.
Helmet, his Kevlar on. I think he had a plate carrier, but no shirt on underneath. Naturally. He walks up there just casually, kicks it with his foot, and he's like, oh, it's all good. They throw it in the canal. We load everything up and go. I'm like, what the fuck?
I wonder how big his door is to his tent.
Oh.
Like to get his balls in there. You know what I mean?
Because during this time, we got mortar fire, because that was my first combat action regiment. We got mortar fire during that time. We had small arms fire during that time. And I'm like,
did you guys get ambushed? Are they just hitting you?
Just randomly, like sporadically hitting them because
like pop shots at your convoy?
Well, no, when we was outside the vehicles. So when we was recovering that, recons over there, like getting some. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, okay, sure. I don't know what to do with my hands.
Yeah. And you're a sergeant on this one?
No, I was a corporal.
You're still a corporal on this one, yeah. Fuck yeah, dude. I had a couple of instances like that, not so scary, and it's kind of makes me almost applaud the enemy forces there for stuffing a mine up in it, knowing that you're going to come get it. Yeah, they're not stupid.
Strategic.
It's very smart. Yep. Yeah, go ahead, lift this up. Boom, now your wrecker's down. Yep. Right. Yeah, and then the ambush starts.
Man, them complex ambushes, they get you.
Yeah, they got me before. Yeah, those rocket or mortar explosion IED initiated, followed up by
all hell.
pouring 7.62 on you like a water bucket. Yeah. That's not fun. Okay, so you guys mitigate the mine. I think what I was going to say is we didn't find an anti-tank mine, but when I was in Iraq, we were down on the Euphrates and we found an S-vest that had been stowed for somebody in like a plastic bag or something.
Really secure a container.
Well, but that's what they do though,
Yeah.
and it's effective.
It just looked like trash to us.
Yeah, you're right. Well, it didn't. That day it didn't look like trash to my point man. He's like, "Oh, there's pink det cord on a vest up here." I'm like, "Yeah, I know what that is."
Stay the fuck away.
You know what that is too. And it was one of those, like in early Iraq, man. If you didn't have EOD directly attached to you, man, you were waiting. Because, at that time we hadn't built up. The IED threat was kind of growing, and it was like, oh, we need a lot of these guys. But we hadn't fielded them and trained enough of them, so they were spread thin throughout everywhere we were at. They were thin.
Yeah.
And I remember sitting on that damn S-vest for, God, it must have been 6 or 8 hours that we near far side cordoned this bitch down on the river. And, your ass is in the wind. And I'm not hating anybody, but it was just bad times. And what they do, they came up, picked it up, and tossed it in Euphrates. Yeah. And it's like, you could have called me and told me to do that 8 hours ago, and I'd have been more than happy to do that.
Yeah, we was going up towards Al Assad or something like that, and there was a possible IED. There was a rock formation in the middle of the road. Mm-hmm. EOD's like, well, we can get there in 10 hours, or
shoot a rocket at it.
Shoot something at it. But we didn't tell you could shoot something at it. Just saying. I'm like, okay.
Roger.
Solid copy.
That's one of those calls back to your house, like, hey, stand by for shot, over. What? I'm about to shoot this thing with my rocket. Most of them wouldn't care, I don't think.
No.
Especially if you had some pressing shit and now you're going to be 10 hours behind.
Yeah. Well, we had 3 truckfuls of Iraqis.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. And we beat the shit out of them in the back of those 7 tons.
Dude, anybody in the back of a 7-ton gets beat the shit out of.
They say you can fit 16, you can always fit 5 more.
There's always room. That's ITB rules. 1, 2, 3, shift. Yeah, dude. That's funny.
Nut to butt.
You guys got hit by one of those mines. There have been body parts flying everywhere.
Oh, everywhere. We had shit falling on because we'd haul ass
it
down
came out
hit.
of there like a Pringles can, dude.
Yeah. Well, like going through hit up to Al Assad from Fallujah, like that road is shattered with old IED blasts. Mm-hmm. So we're just like bouncing around. We had armor falling off the back of the 7-ton. We'd have tailgates fall off. And
I'm sure it's not fun gunning in that either.
No, it's
especially when you're standing on that platform, you're getting worked.
And I was a 19 gunner. Mm-hmm. And you know how they used to put the things in there that you could control it? Mm-hmm. Mine broke. You get a gust of wind, just swings you around. We're going to Baghdad a few times, and because
that muzzle awareness becomes important, eh?
God,
yeah.
And like it gets 70 degrees and you're freezing because it was 110 that day.
Yep.
And you're up in the gun at midnight, and a gust of wind comes through, and you're like, it spins you around.
Don't they have I think they got to a point where they became electronic.
Yeah, now they're electronic,
which is dope.
Yeah. And you can still free spool.
You can free gun it, yeah, if you're on targets or something and you have to move from the shoulder. But spinning like that is awesome. I was never in them. I never got the opportunity. I think I might have been. I fired a machine gun at a range from a turret and stuff like that. Yeah. But most of it's just been. I fired a machine gun in Marcia, but it was one of those things like, hey, I'd really love to fire your 240. Can I fire it?
Yeah. Sure. You fire it, you clean it.
Pass. No, I'm just kidding. I love the 240, dude. I love the Mark II, but the 240 is just so fast and so loud and just violent, snappy.
Yeah.
Whenever I'd hear a 240 go off, it's like, nah.
See, and I went to the 2-week machine gunners course that they had over at Lejeune before we deployed to Iraq, and they was like, "You're a pretty big dude. We're gonna put you on the 19." So the first week you learn all the machine guns, mm-hmm. the 40, the 50, or the 240, 50, and Mark, and then they split everybody up. Okay, you're gonna be a 50, you're gonna be a 240, you're gonna be a 19. Like I'm the only dude learning the 19, and I get all the rounds.
Hell yeah!
So I'm at the range.
That's a fun gun.
Oh, it is.
Because you can watch your rounds fly through the air.
Yep. Run, Fuzzy Bunny, run, or something like that.
Something like that. I think that's the edited, redacted version. Child-friendly version, not redacted.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's a lot of children that listen to this.
Yeah, die motherfucker die is usually what we go with.
Ours was run motherfucker run.
Either way, it's a good 6 to 8 round burst coming downrange, so it works out. So how's that end up? You ended up getting a wrecker?
Yeah. So we ended up getting it out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just towed it back. Everything was okay.
Yeah. Just put it right on the truck and haul its ass back.
Hell yeah. Any other SIG events from that one?
Yeah, we had they didn't call them Lioness back then. It was just the female search team.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember back in 2005 when the female search team got hit. That was our Marines. I think it killed like 7 or 8 females.
I know about it. I just, man,
and I was
foggy.
Yeah, and I was the recovery NCO, so I did all recovery missions. I was always on call, and we had to sit out there and just watch this burn because we couldn't. Rounds are cooking off in the cab and everything. Yeah. I think I had 2 Marines from my platoon there.
That's rough.
Yeah. One got burned up pretty good.
They made it?
Yep.
Both of them?
Yep.
How'd they get out?
It threw them out because it was a suicide vehicle with 2 155 rounds on it. So it just flipped the 7-ton on its side.
And everything was hot and cooking, and they got burned up, but they were able to.
Yeah, it kind of just threw them out. A bunch of burns inside their mouth from inhaling and stuff like that. Yeah,
because the air was so hot inside of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, driver, gunner, and a driver all. I want to say they was 1-6. I want to say maybe. Don't quote me on that. But they all passed because when they flipped over, like our armor sucked back then. We had that L-shaped armor, and if it moves at all, it locks your door. You can't get out.
Yeah.
So that was probably the most significant event we had.
Is that the reason they started going to different doors?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right after that, we started getting the actual up armored stuff. Yeah.
And that's
way heavier.
That's when the doors and the they made those huge. Remember, they made those huge door handles.
Yeah. To combat lock them and stuff.
To combat lock them and to be able to get out if you were burning.
And you had that little tiny porthole that you could stick your gun out and maybe shoot something.
Yeah.
Nobody ever did that.
It wasn't real great.
Yeah.
Although, it may be real great if people are trying to pull your door open.
Yep, true.
And you're in a bad situation. At least you can give them a gut shot or something. Yeah, that's tough, man. And when you say you're watching it, were you like first on scene to go recover it, or they already had a cordon off, they already had triage going, and stuff like that?
Yeah, they already had the triage was already going. Like they've already evac'd everybody they could back to Fallujah.
Check.
We're just out there sitting ducks in the city of Fallujah waiting for this thing to cool down so we pick it up.
Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of thought put into that one. They was like, just go get it.
Okay, like I understand we're going to get our equipment and stuff, but to put people out with their ass in the wind if there's nothing of high valued intelligence inside that vehicle is like, okay, hit it with a Hellfire.
Yeah, it's already burnt the fuck up.
They will pick everything up,
yeah,
and they will use it. Like they'll take the metal, all that'll be good. Instead, we're going to send a platoon of Marines to go sit and watch it burn so they can pick it up as soon as it's out. I don't know if I could get down with that, but. It happened. Yeah. Happened all the time. Yeah. Check. So, coming back from this, you going to a new unit now? Or are you staying at the same unit?
I got orders to recruiting duty.
Oh, we'll get some.
New York City from Alabama. Traveling. I got that yellow tag.
They didn't think that through either, did they?
Well, I got that yellow tag, travel and adventure.
Yeah.
Yes, as soon as I get back, I get promoted to sergeant.
You go to recruiting school?
Yeah.
That's Cali, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because there's only one, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, MSgt San Diego.
Did you have to yell at a tree?
Was it? No.
You didn't yell at trees?
No. We watched a lot of people yell at stuff.
But some people yell at trees?
Nah, I don't think many people. Oh. There was a bunch of people yelling at themselves because they can't talk. You wouldn't have... you think Marines can talk to Marines?
Yeah.
But I tell you, I need you to talk 5 minutes about this. Mm-hmm. People freak out like, there's a button... It's white. No, you sell this to me.
Yeah, nobody's ever sold.
Yeah, and they're like, I don't know. They look like Ricky Bobby. I don't know what to do with my hands. Yeah, but that was a pretty interesting school.
I mean, you learn how to sell.
Yeah.
Or you don't.
Yeah.
But you should.
I could probably sell ice to an Eskimo.
Yeah, let's get some.
Yeah.
Ketchup popsicle to a lady in white gloves.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, dude. My dad's a salesman, and I was inundated with that kind of stuff growing up. So if somebody told me to talk 5 minutes about a remote, it's like, oh yeah, just 5? Who's made this?
But then we have to
give me 2 minutes.
Oh, we'd have to do anger speeches.
What's that? Like you're mad?
So you'd start off all calm, and then you have to get mad about it. and then you have to calm yourself back down. That was probably the hardest one there.
Why do they do that?
Emotions.
For you to control your emotions when you're angry or when
Mm-hmm.
you're in a tense situation. That's smart.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
What's that? Yeah.
I said, hell yeah. I've heard a lot of stories about people going to recruiting school and sales pitches and stuff like that, yelling at trees, yelling at different things, but I never heard nobody's told me that.
Like a lot of the time, like before you don't get any prep on your speech.
Mm-hmm.
You walk outside and you draw a thing out of a cup and you have 2 minutes to think about it. 2, 3, 4 minutes to think about it. And then you go in, hello class. My name is Sergeant Rose. Today I'm here to talk about blue pens. And you're like,
Thing about blue pens.
Yeah.
All kinds of different kinds. Yeah. That's awesome, dude. We did we should do more of that. Just human beings in general should be speaking to each other, having intelligent conversations, so it's not like something foreign when you have to get up in front of somebody and make a presentation. And look, if you're not making presentations, check. If you're a Marine, you should be a good speaker.
yeah. And I think that made me
up.
a better leader because you're selling.
Yeah.
When you get on recruiting duty, you have to sell beyond the clothes. Yes, you want travel and adventure in college. What's that going to do for you? And you can do that to your Marines, to your employees. Like, hey man, what do you really want to get out of this job? Why did you join the Marine Corps? Why did you do? And that continues. You know, I was just at a buddy's house who's a staff sergeant, and he's asking me questions. I'm like, hey man, you just came off recruiting duty. What did you learn out there? I didn't even think about that. Like, exactly.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think that's one thing that we should be better about in general, as everybody, but Marines specifically. It's like you do have a job, and that's your job. And in that job and in those jobs, you're going to get different experiences. Those experiences do translate. It's a matter of finding
How they translate.
the angle to how they translate. 100% the Marine Corps gives you the fundamental building blocks in all services, in my opinion. They give you the building blocks to be a good person. And it's how you use and shape the experiences that you get after that.
Right.
And how you apply them forward to make a difference.
And if you want to apply those to make a difference.
And if you want to, yeah. Some people don't. Some people are comfortable not. But I'm not. I want to try to give everybody as much, because people like you, people like me, John Wayne Williams, the guys on the shows, these guys that are currently hitting, get them on here and show those experiences. It's just as good as reading a book or watching a movie about your profession. Yeah. You can get on there and learn. So far, we've talked about a couple of different things that maybe we didn't agree with that we would make that call just in your story. And so guys that are watching this could be like, do we really send somebody out on a cordon for 5.5 hours waiting on a building or a vehicle to burn down so they can wreck it back? Or is there maybe a better thing that we can do? Like, there's lessons to be learned from all of our fuck ups, and if we put them on here and we bring light and we talk about them, it's essentially a mini after action. It's a little TDG for these guys that are watching it, that are still doing it. So that's another big thing. So coming out of that one, what happens? You recruit for like 3 years, right?
Yeah. I was on Long Island for 3 years. Very interesting, because I'm the only white guy in the office. The other two recruiters are Spanish-speaking people,
which is probably good there, right?
Yes, they get the rich white area. I get the Hispanic area. Builds character.
Yeah.
Well, rich white area and Hispanic, like down to heated driveways, so they don't have to shovel snow. But then you cross the railroad tracks and it's just
that's your zone?
Yeah.
Normal people.
Yeah, just normal people.
Just normal, struggling, everyday people. I'd rather talk to them anyway.
I couldn't talk to them because half of them didn't speak English.
Oh, so this was rough.
Yeah. So anytime I had to talk to a parent, I'd have to call one of my other recruiters. Hey, man, can you come out? And I love talking to Hispanic parents because you show up and there's a spread of food everywhere.
Oh, yeah. They take care of their guests.
Yeah, because it was mostly El Salvadorian and Honduran and like you show up and there's a spread of food. And I'm just like, hey, Vinny, you got this. And I'm just sitting there chowing. Hey, ask him this. He's shoveling food.
Food is phenomenal.
Yeah. And my office was right next to a bodega, so that was even better. Like every day I just walk over to the bodega. It was amazing.
It's good stuff.
Yeah.
Now, in the inner city, I'm sure you guys do you have a smaller AO?
No, so I had 5 high schools. My biggest one graduates around 700 people, and my smallest graduated about 200 people.
Okay.
But 2 of my schools I couldn't even go in uniform. One I could only go in one time a year.
They wouldn't let you?
No, they wouldn't let you.
Yeah.
Had one I could go one day every year in uniform. The other one, I couldn't go in uniform at all, so I volunteered for the football team. I'd come out 1 day a week or 2 days a week during practice, and I just wear a tracksuit. It says Marines.com or a 1-800-Marines or whatever it was.
Yeah.
And I just, hey, you can run faster if you do this, right? Hey, what are you eating? You could eat better, and that's the only way I could get into high school.
Wow.
I got one dude to join from that high school that was a janitor. No high school kids.
You're like, hey, dude, you want to get paid more and do fun stuff?
He'd probably getting paid better there.
Oh, yeah, it could be, right? Could be. You want to take a pay cut?
Yeah.
But love yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah, man, that's rough. So I assume making mission in this environment was...
It was hard because that's what I was going to
say.
Yeah, this was
not fun.
Yeah, this is when we did the push to 202. So we was building the force. And up there, you either have smart people or you have people that can't read by Ryan Rogers. And
there's not a whole big in between there.
That's not a whole. All the smart dudes want to be a grunt. All the dumb dudes and dudettes want to be intel. And you're like, what?
Naturally.
Yeah. Like we recruited a dude that was homeless living under a bridge. He scored a 98 out of 99 on the ASVAB. He's like, all I want to do is be a grunt. Here you go. Here's your paperwork.
Day.
You going to boot camp tomorrow? Good. Perfect.
You ready to ship?
Yep.
Oh, yeah. In that timeline, there was a lot of people that were called in their gut to go serve in the infantry, though, and that's kind of me. Like, I went to my recruiter like, hey, I'm ready. 03, if you can make that happen. Fast contract, does that get me to 03? Okay, cool. Whatever you got. And so there were some of those in that time, just from probably our generation of people sitting watching American citizens jump out of a building to their death because it was so hot. I talk about it a lot on here. That's something that impacted a lot of people. And it should. We should be impacted by that. So, though that made the recruiting around the nation a bit easier, not so much up there for you. Eh?
Well, smart people, dumb people, and then everybody has some type of marijuana charge.
Oh, my God. In New York?
Yeah. Oh. What heroin was getting really big back then when I was there. But everybody they got caught with a joint, or they got caught with a nickel bag.
A possession charge.
A possession charge, and then we got to go through the whole rigmarole, getting a waiver, going to get the court minutes. But there weren't many people that back then we would give a lot of waivers. I had a dude that took the ASVAB 5 times and couldn't pass it. We still put him in.
Wow. What was he?
I don't even remember. He may have been Motor T.
I don't know if like you open contracted something.
Yeah, he was probably open contract.
Needs of the Marine Corps kind of thing.
Yep.
Yeah.
So with open contract, I think the only thing you can't be is a grunt or a cook.
You know what? There's something to be said about that though, because I don't care. Like you can take a guy that maybe had a rough life growing up and struggled academically, and you can still build him into a pretty good charactered person. A well-read person. Like if he has good leaders in his time in the service, whatever service that is, you can still fix a lot of things and build a great human being, and they can do wonders for you in combat. Just because they had a low score doesn't really mean they're not going to drag you by your
they're not doing trigonometry out on the battlefield.
No, they might not be snipers, but they know how to shoot. Like you can teach anybody how to shoot. There's no math in it. I mean, at a short range.
Right.
So. I had some of the guys throughout my career that I just thought were, man, this guy struggles. Not even bad guys, and then we get in country and they're a beast. Yeah. So I don't judge on the IQ score.
Again, I'm from Alabama, so I'm not hating on that at all.
No, you can't. You can't. We do a weird thing in the infantry, like how we break guys up. Like the weapons MOSs get the higher IQ guys. Or higher ASVAB score guys than the 03s get. It's just still a job.
Yeah.
And you can learn your job if you try to learn your job. You know what I mean? It's not, I don't think you got to be a genius, in my opinion.
I have a PhD. I'm good. Plain high school diploma.
I love it. You probably got a PhD in suffering, too. So there's that. You did a full recruiting tour 3 years, right?
Yep.
Up there? Okay.
All 36 1-month tours.
Good time.
Every month is different.
36 1-month tours. I got you.
Yeah. You could make mission this month. Come the 5th of next month. Hey dog, why haven't you rode a bone? Well, why you on a 0? Yeah. Well, I wrote 7 last month. Well, you should have saved 2 for this month.
Guys lose their mind on recruiting duty a lot, huh?
Yeah.
Because it's like a deployment stateside because you're always working.
But then you have the 8412s, the career recruiters. That they are master guns, I think.
I don't think I understand all that.
So he's been on recruiting duty for like 22 years.
Just because he's good at it?
Because he's good at it.
Yeah. Okay.
And
so they're using his talent to say, hey, this guy can make an office put out and we get good numbers out of him.
But it's all about business, It's not I wouldn't say it's not a organization then, but they treat it more like a business. Like I had to make 150 phone calls a day to get 4 appointments. Out of the 4 appointments, I know one's going to turn into an interview. And for every 3 interviews I have, I'm going to get a contract. It's all systematic.
Yeah, there's process, but that's smart. I mean,
Yeah.
when you have a system, a built-in, proven system, fall in and follow the steps. Bop, 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 bop. Doesn't always work out the same, but there is a system.
Yeah. I still use stuff today from recruiting duty. Our daily schedule I use every day because I come out with my plan, what I actually do, what phone calls I got to make, what appointments I got, what meetings I got, and I still use it to this day.
Dude, I'm a whiteboard kind of a guy. But again, because it helps. That's the way I learned coming up. We'd always have a whiteboard in the squad bay or, at that platoon berthing or whatever the case. And so now, like, I put them in my office right where I have to look at them. Like, every day, I got to come out here and I got to work. So I put all of my stuff up here, the things I'm thinking about, things I'm talking about. And then I'm using my phone. I'm using my tablets, calendars inside. It's smart, and it keeps you task-oriented, If you write those things down and you have to look at them, then you're going to, for me, it's like I force myself to hold myself accountable. Like, you shouldn't have put it on the damn whiteboard. Go do it. Like I'm talking to myself like that. You're the one who put it up there. Get after it. So, yeah, being scheduled, being routine like that's great. And, like, I think another thing I got from the Marine Corps is just that having a mission as soon as I get up. And sometimes if I don't have something going on in the morning, I gotta have something, right? So if I don't get up and I don't have something going on, I'm not meeting somebody, I'm not recording, I'm not reading or writing something, I gotta jump in the truck and like do a lap,
right?
Just my head gets come down. Okay, now go build a plan, kind of thing, Because if I don't have one when I get up, that's a tough time. So, all right, so you do a full tour, and you're going back to the fleet. Where are we going?
Right back to Lejeune.
Right back, same unit?
Same motor pool, same everything.
Same place you left?
Yep.
What, you still know people there when you get back?
No, it changed units. So it was TSB, then it moved to CLBs, and
oh, okay, yeah. And so, so you're getting in beginning of a workup?
Yeah, so we were supposed to deploy, I want to say June, July. I got back in, say, January-ish. So, again, right back into the fight. We go up to AP Hill, and that's when I want to say it was President Obama's like, hey, we're pushing 10,000 more troops into Afghanistan. So, like, we've been in AP Hill for 5 days.
What time frame are we talking about?
This was 2009.
9. So this is coming up to Marja.
Yep.
That's coming up to General McChrystal's request.
Yep.
30,000 more.
Yep. So we got we was one of the battalions that went.
Yeah.
So we like shut everything down at AP Hill, cease training, come back, 29 Palms.
Spin up time.
Come home. Hey, we got 7 days. I was the assistant ops chief at the time because I had a bad knee. I wasn't, I was still kind of recovering. So they moved me to ops. I think about 4 or 5 days before deployment. It was 4 or 5 days before we go on our deployment leave.
Pre-deployment leave.
Yeah, and they're like, hey, Rose, you're the new platoon sergeant for 3rd Platoon. I don't know any of these Marines. I know them being the ops chief, but I don't know them. I haven't worked with them. So that was very interesting. Then go on that, and that was the snowpocalypse of DC. So I was driving up to Jersey, and it usually takes about 10 hours to get up there. I think it took me 29 hours to drive up there.
Miserable.
Just stuck in snow. Just
95?
95 the whole way. I didn't see a single snowplow until I hit Maryland.
You were too far south.
Yeah, I was too far south, and it sucked.
No resources.
Yeah, got 7 days, came back, and we was out like a week later.
Oh, yeah. When did you leave?
We left mid-January.
Yeah, we left. We were supposed to leave January 2nd. Didn't turn out that way. We slept in customs at Cherry Point.
Did y'all where's the place you go right before Afghanistan? That Kyrgyzstan?
Kyrgyzstan.
Did y'all get stuck there for a while?
No, man. We flew into there, and it was cold as shit, and it was snowing. And, man, we were there maybe 2 days or 3 days. We had to palletize some gear and get it ready for military birds because we flew commercial to there.
Yeah.
And then from there, I think we took C-130s into zone, but it was only a couple days. It wasn't bad.
I think we was there for like a week. The ceiling was so low, they couldn't get a bird out because all the mountains.
Yeah.
So we got to watch everybody drink beer because all the
Because
people.
you're not.
Yeah. I'm like, I could really use a beer right now.
Right. Yeah. That's a cool place, though. Like I said, I didn't spend that much time there. I can't remember. I want to say it was like 4 days. I know it was only enough days to like download our gear, get them on Air Force pallets, get everything staged. And we might have got, I don't even think we got rules of engagement or anything until we got in country.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think we just kind of, there was a berthing, there was a chow hall, you know, you had shitters and pissers beside that, and it was just a couple of days, like doing the Marine Corps shuffle, you know. Probably more just waiting on air to line up. Like what you're talking about the ceiling, it very well could have been that why we waited 4 days. I don't know. But
yeah, I think we finally got in the country like close to the end of the month of January.
Yeah. You guys came in right on our heels then. We may have even been in Kyrgyzstan at the same time. I don't know.
And then we just sit there and twiddle our thumbs for like 3 weeks.
Now, then you can't. But from there, you came into Leatherneck, I would assume, right? Because that was the biggest landing platform at the time.
Yeah, yeah. We landed in there and we stayed there
At Leatherneck.
Yeah.
And you operated out of Leatherneck. Okay, gotcha. All right, we'll talk about that. Getting into Leatherneck. That's.
Well, we got there with no mission.
Got there with no mission, and it's cold.
And no trucks. No. Was you there when it snowed, or everything froze?
I feel like yeah.
So we was in the tent city because that's like the transient area. All the cool people had. I think they had some trailers or permanent tents.
Yeah, we were in temporary GPs.
Yeah. Like pallets all over the place for when it rained. Well, at the end of it was where all the porta-johns was, and we got that monsoon for like 2 or 3 days, and then everything froze. They made the mistake of building all these tents in kind of a hole, so all the porta-johns floated across to the other side and then froze. So you couldn't get to them because they're 15 feet into the water in the ice. We're walking around like, I got to take a shit. Where do I go? You know, so
skates on.
So everybody's getting in trouble for like shit behind HESCO container or HESCO things, and we're like, oh, well, you got to go somewhere.
Yeah.
So the line at the chow hall, porta shitters was always huge.
I'm sure.
Yeah, because that was the only one that was built up.
Yeah. I don't remember having that problem when we got to Leatherneck, but we could have been in a different area than you. You know what I mean? But we got to Leatherneck and we were only there for like 10 days, getting our in briefs and you know, talking to the JAG about ROEs and stuff like that. And then we pushed out to Dwyer. And then we stayed at Dwyer. We stayed at Dwyer until like February 12th or 11th, and we came back to Leatherneck for the flight in.
Okay.
And so I think it was February 12th. 11th or 12th we took off those nights. So
yeah,
we were probably on the same base at the same time.
Yeah, we had a small. I think we had a platoon reinforced up at Dwyer. No, Delaram.
Yep. You have people at Fiddler's Green?
No, we didn't go down.
No.
We was no further south than Leatherneck.
Gotcha.
We'd run missions and stuff down towards that way.
Right.
Like when we came down to Margate a few times, we'd come down there, like resupply y'all.
You ever went to Hanson?
Is that where?
It was where the big radio tower was.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Because that's where y'all would drag all your blown up vehicles to.
Yep.
And that's where we'd come to, like, I'd take photos of everything because y'all.
You'd take them out of there.
Yeah. Because y'all would always say we stole something off of it, so I'd take pictures of
Not
everything.
y'all. But I know some of y'all that you're talking about. Yeah. That's good shit. So we'll get into it. You're at Leatherneck. You guys are starting to spin up for missions, or you're not spinning up for a mission. You're
kind of
laying and waiting until Mosterok opens up.
Yeah, because we had a reserve unit that we was replacing. So we had to do the whole turnover with them, sign for all the vehicles, get all those vehicles fixed and all that stuff. So then we started. The majority of our mission starting off was moving all the Gurkhas and the Brits and the French out of Nalzad and Musa Kala, moving. I think it was 2-1 we was moving in. They was moving into those. So our convoys was like 230 vehicles long, like 17 clicks long. Like the enemy knew we was coming. I
don't know if you attack a size that big though. Did you guys get ambushed a bunch with that many vehicles?
It depends on where we was going.
And what's the commo like? Like who's in charge?
That's hard because the British comm doesn't work with the US comm, the French comm. So we would have to put individuals with like a 119 to communicate with them.
Yep.
And like the British dudes are fucking hilarious.
Oh, they're epic.
They'll be riding around with no pants on.
Oh yeah,
because their AC doesn't work. So like
they don't care.
You go to open up the door and the dude's just sitting there with boxers on, his pants around his ankles. I'm like, hey man, what's wrong? Okay, cool. You know, Gurkhas give zero fucks about anything.
Yeah, until that knife comes out.
Yep, I have one.
Then it's time to go to work.
Yep.
They don't unsheath those things
unless you kill something.
Blood.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. I had to kill a goat for it.
You had a halal one up, huh?
Yep. Yeah, because we would do wadi security with them. And
with the Gurkha guards?
Yeah, with the Gurkha guards. Yeah. And it'd be a platoon of them and like 10 people from my platoon just to learn what they're doing. So when they leave, we can take over. Because when we do convoys up to Nalzad or Musa Khalid, it'd be like a 3-day convoy.
Yeah.
There.
Yeah. They'd
stay for 2 or 3 days, recover. We'd stay in the wadi, do security, do some foot patrols, and just make sure people aren't back laying stuff. And then as they come back through, we hop on the back of the convoy and we follow them back.
Check.
Yeah. So they bring money and they'd go to local villages and buy a goat, buy a chicken.
Yeah.
So every night we ate great.
Dude, we did that too.
Yeah.
Not every night, but we had some very good fresh killed meals, and lamb chops and whatnot.
Yeah, like they're...
A lot of times our A&A would just do it up for us, you know what I mean?
Oh, really?
They'd have like, they'd go out and they would buy it. They would buy it from the locals, and they'd come back and halal it, and then later that evening we'd have like, you know, rice and all their vegetables sauteed up, and like and lamb chops or you know, goats.
Yeah,
so.
But it was smart because then the next time we roll through that village, like the village elders coming out, hey, IED right here, you want to spend another $1,000 on a goat? I got 2 of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
I'll spend $1,000 because you just saved me.
Yeah.
We tried to help them out the best we could. We would buy ice. We would buy food and goats and stuff. They had even the guy that I guess you could call as close to a fast food restaurant as you could get in a bazaar in Marja, but he would come out and do the pita bread and fill it up with like lamb or chicken or whatever, like the falafel kind. And it's hell on your stomach the first couple weeks, but after that, it's like,
you're good.
Once you get used to,
well, that's like drinking Lejeune water. Yeah, it's like drinking Lejeune water. You're good.
Hey, you can about good for everything if you can drink the water here.
Well, that's the reason I never got COVID. Drink Lejeune water. That vaccine's been around for a while. Since what, the 50s? You know,
it's been a minute. They got commercials about it. It's been that long.
Yeah.
Are you or any of your family experiencing these symptoms? Call JB and Roush Associates.
Well, I kept drinking the Lejeune water, hoping I'd grow a third eye, so then I have 2 eyes.
You'd be better off.
I'd be better off. Yeah.
Even better if it was on the back.
Yeah.
Like a dual Cyclops.
And then I'd got my own 6.
No, you don't have my 6 because I had it.
It's funny that you brought up ice because they wouldn't give us ice on Leatherneck.
Yeah.
So I had a corporal that kind of looked like an Afghani.
Yes.
So, and you know all the Terps get camis, but no name tapes.
Yeah.
So we got an extra pair for him. We give him a slick pair, and he'd go to the chow hall, be like, Mister, ice, cooler, ice. And they'd give him ice every time.
But wouldn't give it to the Marines. Motherfuckers. About the second time that worked, if I was that corporal, I'm slapping the teeth out of somebody's mouth. Yeah. Like, I'm a fucking Marine, you asshole. Yeah. I just asked you for ice yesterday and you wouldn't give me any.
Yeah, but the way we cooled our stuff was socks. We just used tube socks.
Yeah.
You'd wet the tube sock, put your water in there, hang it from the side mirror, and dry for about 10 minutes. It'll cool your shit down.
Air cool it down?
Yep.
Fuck, yeah. No, dude, we found an ice vendor literally on Bronze. Or on 608. And he lived off of 608. And it sucked. But we would make a patrol. Like every 10 days, we'd rotate. Or we'd rotate our duties. So you'd have like the OP picking in 608 or 605, one of the two, depending on where you were. And then you'd have patrol cycle for 10 days where you're just getting after it, doing direct hits, raids, and you're going out, census to contact to, or, patrol to contact, getting in their backyard and in their face. And then you'd have, after that 10 days, you go to 10 days like security on the post. Well, in our OP days, day one, there was always a patrol to the ice guy. And I know we set a pattern, but we went with some mass, so we were okay. And we go down there, and it'd be like a block of ice, like 3 foot by like 2 foot or 2.5 foot, just enough that you could bear hug like this. And 2 of my junior guys would take turns, weapon slung, carrying this ice back. And it was like a click movement. So we worked for it. But we had bought this big igloo cooler from one of the locals. And we'd break the ice, like the big block, in half or in quarters and put it in there. And that whole 10 days, our shit would stay ice cold. Like, we'd buy like the Mooj Mountain Dews and Pepsis and stuff like that from them too. And we'd have it in there, and it was great. And then my guys got to the point where they didn't want to let other people have our ice because we paid for it and we patrolled it and we had it. So like on day 9, they'd fill it up with water, and it would become like a chill bath for them they'd take all the drinks and shit out of it, and they would sit in it, and everybody get cooled down, and then they'd dump it. So if somebody else wanted ice, they had to go buy their own ice. And I'm like, hey, you guys are buying it, you're walking it back, I'm gonna let you do what you want with it. But everybody had that rotation. We all got to a point where we had that rotation. But cool. So now we're operating out of Leatherneck. You said Musakela, Nowzad. Where else?
We went to Marja a few times. That was mostly 2nd platoon, but I was on a few of them just doing recovery stuff. Mm-hmm. Went to Delaram maybe once or twice. I did one recovery mission like 12 clicks north of Delaram. Okay. In some weird pass, and just to recover a vehicle. But it was a lot of long day movements because we'd hit Nowzad up, then go from Nowzad back down around to Musakela, drop things and people off at that OP, and then a small detachment would go into Musakela City, drop off some stuff to the people that was there, the det that was there, and then pretty much come back. Just one time, because kind of if you look at a map, you're kind of going like a up, then down a little bit, then around. One time we decided to go through the pass because it was shorter. We stayed in Nowzad overnight that night. They made an airdrop of water, a pallet of water. All the grunts there was like, dude, get back. This ain't gonna work good. Fucking pallet comes down.
Kaboom.
Water bottles every fucking where.
Yep.
The engineer that was supposed to be dropped off there didn't get dropped off. So we had an ace, one of those berm builders. Nobody could drive it. So I loaded up on my 870. They start driving, tire bust. And the 870s have 12 tires. We're down to like 4 tires. And this ace, it probably weighs about 35,000 pounds.
It's up armored, right?
Yeah. No, it was not up.
Oh, it's not armored.
No, it was. And I'm like, I made a command decision, called the platoon commander, hey, we got to offload this thing. I'll drive it.
Oh, you're saying you were toting that back?
We was toting it to Musakela so they could build up their berms. Because Nowzad was already established.
Was it the weight that was messing your tires up?
It was the weight and the rocks. Yeah. But because an 870 will hold probably 60,000 pounds. But all the rocks were negotiating, like trying to scoot around, just kept popping tires. Because they're not as thick as like the MTVR tires, the 7-ton tires. They're just regular road tires. So we offload this thing. And I'm trying to figure it out like, okay, there's no D button. A little tiny steering wheel. There's a bunch of levers. I just start fucking around with it. And I'm like, okay, got it. We can go. I got like a little handheld, like, with my platoon commander, like, hey, we're good. Go. And like the hydraulics on this thing suck. Well, I think I got up to like 28 miles an hour.
That's pretty good.
The thing would move.
Yeah.
But the hydraulics in it would always fall. So you'd be 20 miles an hour and all of a sudden, and then you'd figure out where that lever's at again. If I would have hit an IED, I'd just be pink mist. It was just it was pretty much a Mountain Dew can with tracks on it.
Yeah. Bad times.
Yeah.
Well, but thank God you didn't get hit in that.
I made it there.
You made it.
I was so happy to be back in a Mat V. It's like, oh God.
In the comforts of armor.
There's AC in there, you know.
Oh yeah.
When it did work, you know.
Yeah. Once in a while.
Yeah. But the only thing I had was the wind hit me in the face because you could only see about this high.
Yeah.
And it was just, I was like, oh, please don't hit an ID. Please don't hit an ID. Please.
And they were there, dude.
Oh yeah.
They were all over there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, so we did that a lot, and then 3-7 started moving across to go into Sangin.
Yep.
So we was doing some recovery missions for them. these incidental motor vehicle operators that are O3s don't think they need ground guides from time to time.
Happens.
Yeah. So do you remember those big holes they would dig that they collect? They'd be like 25 foot deep. They was moving around the foot, and we always got hit up at the foot. Like, they are always ambushing us from the foot. They got in a tick or whatever. They decided to move the trucks real quick. They backed an MRAP into one of those holes because they didn't need a ground guide.
Of course.
I show up, and there's like corporals, like the team leader, like, hey, Sergeant, we didn't think we needed a ground guide. I was like, are you going to have a ground guide next time? He's like, yeah, I don't want to lose the truck again. We had to walk a long ways.
Yeah. Paid for that one.
Yeah, he paid for that one.
Yeah.
But that was a messed up mission. Everything went bad that day. Our wrecker went down.
One of Murphy's missions.
Yeah. It was supposed to be like a 3-hour mission. Ended up being like 18 hours because wrecker broke and this broke. One of my axles broke. So I'm trying to, and it's the middle axle of the 870. So I'm trying to like use the winch off this 7-ton to levy off of this one to pick this up to drag it underneath. And I'm kind of a gear queer when it goes out for truck stuff. And my platoon's always, Sergeant, why do you have a breaching kit? I'm like, we'll need it.
Just in case.
Just in case. That day it had 2 grinders in it. Got to cut all the U-bolts off that axle and drug that son of a bitch out.
Oh, yeah.
And they're like, oh, we only had to use it once, but at least we had it. I'm like, yeah, it's...
One is all you need.
Yeah.
If you need it once, have it.
Yep.
At least if you can. Yeah.
Like I always had 4 or 5 just 50 cal rounds, not the casing, just the bullet itself, some 240 rounds, because they fit perfect for fixing an airline.
Oh, really?
The 870 regular ones, a 240 round stops up an airline. So if you have an air leak, cut it, stop it. On the on the Delta trailers, the 50 cal works perfect for the hydraulic lines. And they're like, how do you know this? It's happened. This happened a lot in Iraq. Yeah. I learned a lot, and I kept all that. You know, like I always keep a big thing of like the cheap pepper. Yeah. Because if you get a radiator leak, you pour pepper in there, it quits leaking.
How's that work?
It finds the holes and stops it up and swells up.
No
so that at least gets you back to base.
Yeah.
And they're like, how do you know all this stuff? I was like, Iraq. And they're like, well, why don't they teach that?
Tools and tricks of the trade, dude. Yeah. Experience, learning it. And sometimes it comes when nobody's ever taught you that shit, but you're in a shitty situation. It's like, well,
let's see if this works.
We need to do something. Give me your pepper packet. Yeah, like I don't know how that went down the first time, but
well, I knew that as a kid growing up because I had shitty vehicles growing up. You know.
Okay, I never heard that one.
Yeah,
that's dope. Okay, so where do we go from there?
So
continue operating. I'm sure out of that same area.
Yeah. So, few more days later, we're going on a mission. A lot smaller vehicle. I think we only had like 25, 30 vehicles. So, as the platoon sergeant, it's a perfect chance to give my assistant platoon sergeant a chance at the realm. So he's typically my point man. He's the first security team leader. So he's up front. We're going out to recover some of 37's vehicles before their final push into Sangin. And we're going out there like 10, 12 hours before the convoy. We find out, oh, you don't get EOD or you don't get a route clearance platoon today. So we're going through the Acolyte Wadi, which is they call IED Wadi because there's all kinds of IEDs there. I'm like, oh, fuck, what are we going to do? So I grab my assistant security team leader and we go over CEB and try to learn how to use their fancy
mine detectors.
Yeah. Didn't work. No. Clearly. So as we're driving out there and I'm point, I have my same team, my driver, my gunner, my mine railer break. And to as a motor T guy, like when something breaks, that's okay. Something else is going to break. Something else is going to break. So we switch out the mine rollers because I'm point. I have to have a mine roller. We start rolling across the Wadi, and I can see 37's link up point because they sent like 2 vehicles out to lead us in. My fucking rear diff goes out. I'm like, oh, it's going to be. Don't know.
Murphy.
Yeah.
Check.
So I tell the gunner to get down. I climb through the turret over around the front because on the front of the MRAP or the MAT-Vs, you have a little switch to lock it in all 4. So I crawl down the hood because I'm not getting out in the Wadi. Switch it over. We drive forward. We're going maybe a click and boom. Their third vehicle hit an IED. And we're like, oh, fuck. Hopefully everybody's okay. They start making comm checks. Okay, one dude was knocked out. He was unconscious like 15, 20 seconds. Woke up. He's all good. No injuries other than that one dude that got knocked out. Then they get out and sweep for like 40 minutes. They say everything's clear. My biggest rule as a platoon sergeant is we don't need to be like the city workers digging a ditch. I don't need 15 people out there and one person to have a shovel. So my biggest rule was I get outside the vehicle. If I need you, I'll tell you to get outside the vehicle. So we pull up. I stand in the first IED hole because I'm going to hook that truck up to the wrecker, tell my vehicle to push, post security up on the hill. And as soon as he rolled forward, the second IED went off, which was a 110 pounder estimated. First one they said was like a 20, 30 pounder. They think the 110 pounder was supposed to be the primary, and then the 20 or 30 pounder
Secondary.
was going to be secondary when they're out there sweeping, so it hit more casualties. So they think, I don't know, they're way smarter than me.
Makes sense to me.
What saved me is I was standing waist deep in the first IED hole. So it only hit me from the waist up, but threw me out about 9 meters. So that's where I broke my hip. Of course, shrapnel all up my left arm, left face, a little bit on the right. But all I remember is boom, waking up 3 or 4 weeks later in San Antonio.
Man, how was that? How is it like? Because you just wake up, you don't experience the time, right?
Right. Yeah.
It's just like the
weird.
ID goes off, and then you wake up, and it's a month later, and you're in another country.
And I can't see anything because I got gook all over my eye. I can't see out of my left eye.
You don't remember anything? Do you remember the blast?
All I remember is boom.
That's it.
That's it. Yeah. And then it was
I'm
weird.
sure they've backfilled you on the story.
Yeah, well,
at least a little bit.
A lot of my guys don't want to talk about it at all.
Yeah.
Me and my driver was the only ones medevac. It hit him really hard because shit, he's my driver. I did all the training with him. He's a young corporal, married. I think he has 3 kids now. Yeah.
Did it hurt him?
Yeah. Yeah. No physical injuries. All mental.
Yeah, but oh man.
Yeah, but they had me on that good Michael Jackson drug, so I was painless.
You were in good shape.
Yeah.
So you wake up 4 weeks later in Bethesda?
No, they sent me straight to San Antonio.
San Antonio.
Yeah, because that's the burn center.
Yeah.
Yeah, they flew.
SAMC, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, back then it was BAMC.
Yeah.
Yeah. It switches. It's weird.
I only know because I did inpatient treatment out there, and we went and talked to some of these kids that were over in BAMC.
Yeah.
And we were in SAMC.
Yeah. SAMC to us is the San Antonio Men's Club, which is the strip club around the corner.
Oh, Roger. We weren't there.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I don't know if you want to do treatment there.
Nah.
Yeah.
Pass. Hard pass.
Yeah.
So you wake up. What's it like? I mean, somebody's got to fill you in on what's going on. What are you thinking when this happens?
I have no fucking idea. Like, I'm in a room because burn patients go into a room that's 98 degrees because we can't regulate our body heat. So anybody who comes in there has to be fully gowned up, stuff over their
because
shoes,
of infection.
Because of infection. Because what their big thing in Afghanistan is they're going to piss and shit in all the IEDs. So you die from an infection if it doesn't kill you by the blast. So a lot of the guys coming back in 2010, 2009, 11, a lot of them was getting sepsis. They was getting infections from that going into their body.
Wow. Smart tactic for the enemy, but fuck them.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. Walk me through the wake up.
It was weird because, of course, I was on some good drugs.
Yeah.
And I thought I was still in Afghanistan.
And let me ask you this before you tell me: did they keep you medically induced coma, or was this just you went into?
No, this was medically induced. Yeah.
So you got hit there. You lose consciousness because you're fucked up. They fly you to wherever, and then they dope you up and put you in a coma to travel you, I would assume, and to get you better, let your body rest.
So after blast, they flew me to Germany.
Yep.
They flew a doctor from San Antonio to Germany to work on me to get me stable enough to fly because that's when the volcano was going off in Germany.
Okay.
So they wanted to get me out there as soon as possible. So flew the doctor from San Antonio out there, and then I guess he worked on me on the plane there and on the plane coming back. And then I like the dreams I was having, I was still in Afghanistan, but I was a little person. Like I was running around, and it's like a little 2-inch person, like stabbing Afghanis in their heels with knives and shit. It was weird.
Wicked. It's probably some of the dope they had going, I would imagine, right? Yeah.
Eventually, I think I grew into a tank. So like my bottom was
it recurring? Like it stayed with it?
Yeah, like it kept moving on. Like the family members that came there to visit me, like they was in my dream. So consciously, I knew they was there, but now they're in Afghanistan with me. with some weird, good drugs.
How long can you not see?
I think it was probably about 6-7 weeks.
And is that either eye or just the one?
Well, I kept having to put goop on this eye to keep it, because my face was still swollen, so I couldn't close my eyes all the way. So everything was just like super blurry, like trying to look out of a Humvee windshield when it has been cleaned and you drove through.
But people are talking to you, telling you where you're at and what's happened, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Like your nurses or something? What's that?
So I guess the first thing everybody always does is says, "Hey, is my dick still there?"
Did you say that?
Yeah.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
That's important.
And like my OT, which I still talk to her to this day. I just saw her a few months ago while I was out in San Antonio. She spun around to my wife and she's like, "Oh, all of the guys ask that," because I'm just sitting there with a loincloth on.
You don't know.
I'm just like,
And you probably can't feel much, right?
right.
And your jaw.
And I don't remember any of this. I was still
completely.
Yeah, they had it
wired shut.
I was wired for like 3 months.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Were they feeding you through a tube?
I'm missing all these teeth, so I could still suck. So I drank like 7 Ensures a day, because you had to have so many calories for your body to do whatever. Yeah. Supposedly they got me up out of the bed and walked around. I don't remember any of that.
Right, because you're
Yeah.
on heavy. On all of it, probably whatever they have. Yeah. There's something to be said about those people that take care of us guys when we get not me, but the guys that get mangled up and maimed and burned up, and they're amazing people.
Yep.
They're amazing people that give you something back.
Yeah.
You know, so, and they help you through probably, I'm not going to speak from experience, but I'd say that's probably one of the hardest sufferings you've had in your life. At least to that point, you're a young man, and that's a whole adjustment.
It is,
You need special people to make that breakthrough for you and let you know, hey, this isn't over. We got you, and work you through that. So,
Yeah. That's the reason I still talk to my OT now. Like, we started riding bikes together.
there's no doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
I mean, that becomes a serious relationship when somebody's bringing you back from the edge. So.
Yeah. And she's super cool. I always ride with a speaker so I can hear music, because when things are quiet, all I hear is. So I came up with a playlist. She's like, "So what's my song?" I was like, "Whatever the next song that comes on can be your song, and we'll start every ride with it." You'd never guess the name of the song. Use a hoe. So now every time we go on a bike ride, that's the first song we have to listen to.
I got you. And I'm sure she's not utterly offended by that.
No.
Right.
She loves it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's epic, dude. Well, I want to get back to it. So walk me through this recovery process. I mean, obviously you guys are still close now all these years later, but there's a reason you're close.
Yeah.
I'm sure there were some tough times that came with all of that.
There's a lot of tough times. I think in the beginning, I was doing therapy, I think twice a day, like an hour at a time, just about every day. And just painful, like because the supination, pronation of your hand, I had none of it because I had an IED go through right here, or a rock go through here, and it fused my whole forearm.
Did it break your radial bone?
Broke both of them, and then wedged in between them. So they had to go in later and chisel it out. It's because I was stuck just at the upright position. I couldn't go left or right at all. So that was a big surgery after that, like a big recovery after that. But like just doing fine motor skills, like a lot of my therapy was putting washers on bolts, putting a nut on a bolt, and like
fine motor skills.
Fine motor skills, because it shattered my whole right hand. Like it probably broke it in 15, 20 places. I've still got rocks in there. So that was a lot of it. And then the burn stuff, like going through therapy.
Where were you burned?
I was
because
burned.
they did a phenomenal job.
Yeah, I was burned all up
with
through
your
here.
arm.
My face was pretty burned up. They did a lot of stuff to make that look better.
Did you take shrapnel to your body at all?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, no.
Like your torso?
So
both arms and face?
Yeah. So this convoy, again, like I said, was a weird one. We usually wear plate carriers because we're in a vehicle, As a platoon sergeant, I'm like, hey, I'm not feeling good about this one. We're wearing full gear. Neck protector, groin protector, all of it. And I believe that's what saved my life. Yeah. Because I had a rock go through here. I don't know if you can see the little scar through there. It was probably about the size of a quarter. I have it at work. I keep all my rocks at my desk. And I believe, this is just John Rose, I believe that's what saved me, because it slowed that rock down enough, and they recovered that rock right next to my jugular vein. If I wouldn't have had that neck protector on, it would have went probably all the way through.
And so many things right there too. If you hadn't been standing in the crater, your legs and goddamn your femorals, they're taking what your arms have got.
Yep.
And then that becomes an issue depending on what that clips. That's just, there's a lot of things. It's unlucky situation, let's say that, but
Could have been a lot worse.
you had things line up that made it non-fatal when it probably should have been. And you're talking about a 100-pound jug, and it was probably ammonium nitrate and aluminum.
Probably.
Yeah. With piss and shit on it. Yeah, dude.
Yeah, but the beginning stages at the hospital is kind of a blur. Kind of like we was talking about boot camp, you know, like tell me something about boot. It's just
Little pictures.
yeah, little things here and there. But I probably went through the recovery process for about a year and a half of just going to PT, going to OT, doing my regular burn doctors, my eye doctors.
So, and that's your full-time job now, is just to get recovered.
That was my billet description on my fitness report.
Recovery and
Inpatient.
S&M.
Yep.
Yeah. Or RSM, I think they call them.
Oh, yeah,
Recovering
RSM,
service
yeah.
member.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's good that we can do that, but man, I'm glad.
Yeah, because like this one was all the way down to the bone.
Now, that's a piece of shrapnel, I assume, though, right? Not a burn?
No, that was a burning rock went through there.
Burning rock.
Yeah.
Did it cauterize it as it goes through? Or
No, it was
bleeding
open
everywhere?
But what they use is silver. So they put a wound vac on it to try to keep it and just pump oxygen to it. And once the wound vac quits working, they use silver to close it up. Burns like hell.
What?
It's like a Q-tip that's dipped in silver. So that's what cauterizes the skin.
No shit.
Yeah, like they took something out of my nose and had to clip it. And your nose bleeds horribly. Like, I don't know what it is. But they cauterize it with a Q-tip with silver on it. Yeah. Burn like hell. My eyes watered for like 2 days.
I'm sure. Wow, I never heard that.
Yeah. Well, that's the kind of clothing they give us too. Like we'd have silver woven into our shirts they give us, and our pants that they gave us, because that silver supposedly helps healing or something like that. I guess it's like the copper band that Brett Favre thing does.
Sure. It does something for you. There's something in the metal that helps you.
Yep.
Yeah, that's nuts. I'm gonna look into that. And you're at BAMC. This whole recovery process. You stayed out.
I was there for almost 3 years.
So you're in Texas 3 years recovering.
Yeah, I got there in May of 10 and I left March of 13.
You did a whole tour there.
Yeah.
Recovery tour.
Yep.
Get some. Were you able to help other people that were coming in behind you?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
That was the
was
thing I wanted to talk to you about, because like somebody in that situation, I can imagine you wake up a month later, you're feeling like you're away from your dudes. You're probably having some purpose issues, like you should be back, or you're not doing what you could. And I'm not saying that's you, but I'm saying I think that would be me. Like, I feel like I should be doing that.
Right.
And then I would imagine that helping other people in similar situations is good for your heart.
Oh, yeah.
And being able to say, hey, I did this. I just came through this. Come on.
Yeah.
Follow me kind of thing. Was there a lot of that?
Oh, a lot of that. Like, we'd have dudes in wheelchairs roll up like, hey, John, can you help me grab this off the shelf? I'm like, man, fuck you. Because I had to piss. So I'd go to the head, come back, and this motherfucker's up on the counter. He's like, I told you I could get it. I was like, I was coming back to get it for you. But we'd have dudes that are down, and we go to Walmart.
Yeah.
If you ever feel down about yourself, go to Walmart at midnight. You will. My life's not that bad. But we'd go there during the middle of the day. Yeah, perspective. Yeah. We'd go there during the middle of the day and just kind of fuck with people. We'd wait for the young kid to drive his grandma's handicap car to Walmart, park and handicap park it. And they would park right beside him to where he couldn't get in. And they all climbed out the back of their vehicles because they had like SUVs and they're in wheelchairs.
Yeah.
So it's not like you can get a wheelchair lift on an SUV.
Yeah.
So they'd go park right up beside them, and they both chain smokers. And we'd wait till the kid comes out, and you see him come out, and he's like, how the fuck am I going to get in the car? And you see these two guys in wheelchairs roll up and like, thanks, asshole. And they hop in their car and leave. And this kid's like, as red as this hammer, just like,
never made that mistake again.
I hope he didn't. He probably did.
Maybe.
He or
maybe
she
not.
Yeah, maybe not.
Maybe he's like, no, dude, I parked there one time, and listen, I felt this big when these dudes came out. You know what I mean?
But there was a lot of that. Like, we'd go visit the dudes in the hospital. Hey, man, it's only getting better from here.
Yep. You're in the worst of it.
Yep.
It's up. It's up after this. Yeah, we went and visited some kids, the kids that were burned up when I was in inpatient treatment out there. And, yeah, it'll change your perspective. Yeah. Like, you think you got a bad life, and show you somebody worse.
Yeah. And
then show you somebody that was just as bad as that worst person that got better.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a big community there.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Like, there at the annex, it's changed a lot since you've been there. But on the weekends, we used to hang outside and just... It'd be July and we got a fire going on.
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of burned patients around a fire. Makes a lot of sense, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, just bullshit and hey man, what's going on? Because a lot of that healing happens with a beer or two around that fire pit. Hey man, I know what you've been through. I did it.
Talking about it.
Yep.
And achieving different perspectives.
But talking about around people that know what you're talking about, not some random dude who's a psychiatrist.
No.
That's never served. That's works at Joe Schmo's therapist center, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Man, that's tough. 3 years of it. So you get better.
Yep.
And instead of retiring.
Well, there's one thing that happened before that.
Oh, come on.
So at the end of that recovery, I was supposed to come back. Got invited to a Veterans Day parade up in Midland, Texas. And our parade float, or it was a back of a flatbed truck, like an 18-wheeler flatbed truck. We got hit by a train doing 67 miles an hour.
Oh my God. Just when you think it can't get any worse.
Killed 4 and injured 17. And this is service members and their spouses or their significant others.
What?
Yeah.
How does this happen?
No idea. It got thrown out of the Supreme Court.
Hang on. You guys are in a parade for Veterans Day in Midland.
Yep.
You go over train tracks while a train's coming.
Yes.
Something happens and the train hits you.
Yes. Exactly.
And now you have a mass casualty situation in Midland.
Yes. And it was weird because the hospital is on the other side of the train. So the ambulances can't get to us. So now it's a bunch of combat vets that are triaging people. Like we put a tourniquet on one lady, one spouse. It saved her life. She still lost her leg, but she's still living today. My wife broke the bottom of her spine, her collarbone, and elbow. And then like we're trying to take spouses that their husbands are clearly deceased because 4 died, trying to drag them away from their dead husband. So it was rough. And then the ambulance show up and they're like, oh. Like they tell my wife, like, oh, you're good. You can walk over. Nope, she's a spinal cord injury. She needs to be put on a stretcher. We need to triage over here because these people are more serious. We got one where and they're like, how do y'all know how to do this? This is what we train to do.
Well, that's awesome. I mean, that you could help. Yeah. It's tragic that it even happened. Yeah. And how, like, they didn't. Oh, that's horrible. That's horrible. I don't. Did it hit the actual float?
Yeah. Yeah. So I was number 1 out of 12 rows. 4, 5, 6, and 7 died. Yeah, it hit around probably chair 9 or 10.
Why was you? Oh man, that's crazy. And is this at the end of your tour there?
Yeah, I was supposed to execute orders the next month, which had to get delayed because my wife couldn't travel.
Yeah. And you didn't get hurt?
They think I may have re-broke my wrist, but they've been broke so many times from the blast. The dude's like, there's a CVS over there. I just recommend go buying a wrist brace.
Hydrate. Yeah. Change your socks.
Here's some Motrin. I think they did give me Motrin.
Just the same in the civilian world, I guess.
I think they did give me Motrin. But Midland's a small town.
Yeah, that's real small.
I couldn't. When's the last mass casualty they had?
No, good point.
At the hospital, they're like one doctor's there. Like, and my wife's in occupational therapy. She's like, I broke my elbow. I can't do that. No. It's fine. You can do that. She's like, no.
You don't understand. This is what I do. And I can't do that. Yeah. God, man, that's horrible.
So now I don't go swimming in the ocean because the shark's going to bite me. And I don't go outside when there's lightning because those are going to be the only 2 things that kill me now.
There's the only 2 things you have left?
Yeah.
Don't swim with sharks.
Yeah.
Good God. So you get delayed orders. Where do you go next?
Back to Lejeune.
Same
motor pool, just a different unit. It was funny. I dermoed one of my vehicles that I drove as a Lance Corporal when I got back there as a staff sergeant after I got blown up. Triple nickel. Because the last three numbers on the truck was 555.
555.
Yeah. Well, that's how long I've been in that
motor. At least you got to see it through. At least you got to see that vehicle through.
Exactly.
Yeah, man. Crazy. And what year is this? You're talking about 13, 14?
13, yeah.
13. And so you stayed with them?
I was only there for like 4 or 5 months.
Just a little while.
And then I got sent over to the TAC Center. So I was one of the staff NCICs over at Lejeune TAC Center.
Okay.
For about a year. Back to the same motor pool again. But I was at the headquarters, and I was the H&S company first sergeant as a staff sergeant, and the company gunny, and the training chief, and because they just stood the battalion up. Like I got there 3 days later, the battalion erected. Mm-hmm. So
you were wearing multiple hats.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Worked there for quite a bit. A lot of long hours being with that unit because all the problem children come there.
Well, you're trying to stand up too, which is complicated in itself.
Everybody's sending us their kids they don't want. They're problem children. So we finally get through that. They moved me over to Bravo Company. Do a lot of work with them. We got a great first sergeant over there. Came from, what was the last 9th Marines that stood down? Was it 3-9? 2-9? Oh, whatever the last one was. Yeah, whatever the last one was. He was weapons company first sergeant. So he comes over, and he's been a grunt his whole life. And he comes over and is like, hey, well, why aren't we painting rocks and going on gun drills? And I'm like, well, first sergeant, close down. Slow down. We drive trucks.
You're not at home no more.
Yeah. Logistics wins wars. The grunts can't shoot unless they got beans, bullets, and Band-Aids. Mm-hmm. So it took a good month for him to, he's like, oh shit, I didn't realize all the stuff y'all do at Motor T. Mm-hmm. And like went through that, and then he retired, and then they sent me to the wing.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, it was weird.
Is it just that the culture is just so much different?
Well, this was a drone unit. So unmanned aerial.
Come on.
It's just weird having, because that unit is the only flying squadron, if you call them a flying, the only squadron in the wing that has ground gear. So they transport all their unmanned stuff with Humvees with 7 tons. Mm-hmm. So it's just a weird dynamic to where most of these pilots, which you can be an enlisted pilot, you can be a Lance Corporal and be a pilot. Most of the officers come from manned aerial, and they lat move over unless they're like a brand new first, second lieutenant, maybe a captain.
Right.
And their way of operating is way different than we do on the ground side.
Yeah.
Like everybody's on a first name base. Like
different culture.
The squadron CEO would walk into the office and be like, "Hey John," and all my Marines are there. I'm like, he'd call me on the phone. "Hey John, what's going on?" I'm like, I don't know. He's like, "Call me Brad." I'm like, "No, Lieutenant Colonel." Yes.
It feels so weird.
Yeah, it was interesting, but it was very informative because I've only ever seen the ground side before. I've never went out and set up, a landing station or a landing field for one of these unmanned aerial things, because it's weird. Like they catch it with a rope.
Yeah, it's a process.
Yeah.
Some of them get launched with a rope.
Yeah.
Like a slingshot.
Yeah, this one gets launched with a little pusher, but then it catches on a rope. And you're like, how is this thing going to land? And all of a sudden the motor shuts down and you see 3 people run out there to catch this thing. You're like, what the?
In the early parts, they had the little Ravens that you could take off and stuff. Now they got so much stuff. They got stuff that they can fly from here all the way over there.
Oh, yeah.
For 24, 48, 72 hours be in the air.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
So it was very interesting learning that side of it and learning the logistics that goes behind that and how much the wing doesn't know about logistics.
Oh, I'm sure.
Like, we're not supposed to do convoys outside base with more than 3 vehicles unless you get a permit. So they'll be like, okay, we'll just take 3 2-vehicle convoys. That's illegal. It says it in the MEF order.
You literally aren't understanding what I'm telling you.
Well, I just pick stuff up and put stuff down. Yeah. But figuring out their logistics, because you're dealing with all kinds of different sets of money. Then you got purple money, you got green money, it was definitely a learning curve. And as soon as I got there, they're like, "Oh, guess what? You're getting phase mode, and you're getting a SMAT inspection." And I'm like, "I just
I
got
don't
here."
even know what that is.
The SMAT is it's where they come and inspect all your programs.
Okay.
So they'll pull 10 record jackets or Humvees and walk out there, and you have to show them all the SL3 gear, all the basic stuff.
Yeah,
They'll run through the PMCS with it, and they'll come and inspect everything.
Almost like a CG inspection.
Yep. Turnover binders, but it's more functional. It's not like there is a lot of admin stuff that goes into it too, like request mass and all that stuff. But it's really heavy for like the Motor T guys and the engineer guys, because we got to make sure, like, they'll go back a year. They're pulling our reports 3 months before they even come. So it's not like we can stay up all night and fix everything. They've already got the shit they need.
Yeah. That's good though.
Yeah.
That's good. That's a good accountability check. Make sure everything's good.
And people get fired because of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Luckily, we passed. That was good.
That's good.
Yeah.
It's better than the antithesis.
Yes. Very.
So, what's next?
So then I got selected for the Congressional Fellowship.
That's right.
Yeah. Weird thing that not a lot of people know about.
I didn't know about it till you started talking about it earlier.
But it's only for Staff Sergeants, Gunnies, Master Sergeants, Master Guns. And you go be the voice on the Hill. You work for an individual member of Congress, House or Senate. Doesn't matter party. You know, we're apolitical. You know, we work for the pleasure of the president, no matter if he's Republican, Democrat, or she. Independent, doesn't matter. So we go up there. I worked for a member who was a prior Marine.
Okay.
But he was the chairman of the Coast Guard Committee. And it's not like you go up there to be a fellow for the Marine Corps. You're a DOD fellow. So you got to know Army, Navy, Air Force. Coast Guard's not part unless we're deployed, but he was the chairman of the Coast Guard, so I had to learn a shit ton about about ice breakers and the beams of. They shot we went out there and toured, and they shot I don't remember what it was, but like you can't even hear it, but it makes you feel nauseous, like you want to throw up, and they just aim it at you. And I'm like, this is the shit y'all use? Like, yeah. We stopped. We got 7 tons of fentanyl or whatever the seize was last week because we used this to shut down the boat.
No kidding.
Yeah.
Huh.
But for a straight year, you're just advising, just like you would do as a senior enlisted advisor. You're advising your commander, but now you're advising a member of Congress. And he'll come in and be like, "Hey, John, how'd this work for you?" And you get to tell him the good, the bad, the ugly. You know, what is going to make our organization better?
Right.
What's going to make it worse? What worked? What didn't work? And you'll get random text messages at like 10 o'clock at night. "Hey, John, I just saw this on Fox, or I just saw this on MSNBC. I need a point paper in the morning on it because I'm going to do my 2-minute speeches about this." And you're like, fuck. Now I got to get to work early.
I got you.
Yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting job though, and probably one that you can bring a lot of positive things or negative things to light to affect positive change. Let's say because of the ear that you hold.
Yep.
Yeah, that's good. Now, how long do you do that?
You do it for a year. So I was there from January to January.
And what year was that?
That was 18.
18.
Yeah, 18.
All right.
Then after that, you have to do a 2-year payback. So you had to go on a utilization tour, and mine was to go to the Assistant Secretary of the Navy for Manpower and Reserve Affairs to be his senior enlisted advisor and handle all his wounded warrior care and policy issues for the whole Department of the Navy, on top of all the legislative stuff.
Check.
So I oversaw all the wounded, ill, and injured policies for the Navy and the Marine Corps, and fought Army and Air Force.
And what's that mean?
What's that?
Like, if you were to break that down and give me a brief synopsis of what your job is when you say that.
So any warrior care that happens, any adaptive sports equipment policies that happen. There's a few pay and entitlement things like SCATL. It's the service.
I know what that is.
Yeah. So we rewrote the DOTI on that and the SecNav instruction. All those type of things I manage. Warrior games.
Okay.
We advocate for anything and everything that can make the warrior, wounded, ill, or injured, life better. Or, hey, we're being too easy on you now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's bring this back a little bit. This should be a little bit more stringent, or
Mm-hmm. That's awesome. It's awesome that we have that. It's awesome that you got to take part in it because I didn't even know it existed.
Not many people do.
Yeah. Yeah, so you do a year there and then you do 2 years underneath. Who were you working for? Who was the member? Or are you not allowed to say?
I'd prefer not to.
Okay,
right now.
Roger. Yeah. That's dope. And where are you working at that time?
On the hill or on my utilization tour?
On the hill.
Oh, I'm working in the member's office.
Right there on the hill.
Right there on the hill. Suit and tie every day, no uniform.
Every day.
Yep.
Yeah. That's very cool.
We're going to receptions, going to parties.
And I'm sure you're networking your ass off with everybody there, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, that's great.
There was probably a reception at least 2 to 3 nights a week.
Oh, wow. Because it's all politics, right? Mm-hmm. Everybody's meeting everybody.
Yeah, you'll have foundations.
Money.
Shit, they set up a zoo in the cafeteria. San Diego Zoo brought like a sloth, a tortoise, fucking penguins
To the hill.
To advocate for wildlife conservation or conservation.
Conservation. Get some.
Yep. Every business out there has a lobbyist.
Yeah.
Down to this cap probably has a lobbyist.
Yeah.
Because their caps are better than your caps.
Gotta get that money, baby.
Yeah.
Gotta get that money. Wow. So what? So you do okay. So a year at the Hill, 2 years for your utilization payback.
Yeah.
And what's after that?
On my current position right now at Wounded Warrior Regiment.
And you're at the regiment now, and you're basically a patient advocate for ill and injured.
So we manage a lot of stuff, and you can go on our website and see all the resources we have and everything. But from point of injury, we start tracking. So if you're a suicide attempt or ideation or your motorcycle accident, because we're not dealing with a lot of combat stuff
Right now, yeah.
from the time the unit releases that personal casualty report, our time starts. We start sending that unit resources. We start sending that stuff to medical to make sure they're processed the right way. We may assign them a recovery care coordinator. It just all kind of depends on the severity of it. Yeah.
Sure.
But from day one of injury or wounded or a lot of cancer patients,
Yeah.
from that time we start tracking and advocating and make sure they have the right stuff.
Yeah, that's good to go. And, so what's that look like on the daily to you? Like, what would be the routine or your battle rhythm?
So every morning I brief the commander of all the PCRs we've had for the day prior. And if we're sending it to this person to review or this person to review or that person to review, and does that motorcycle wreck that lost a leg, does he automatically need to come to one of our battalions or DEDs? Is he good enough to stay at his unit? Does he have the right amount of care? And then throughout the day, it's just random stuff that happens. Like this unit calls because they're trying to refer somebody to Camp Lejeune Battalion East.
Yeah.
Or they're trying to, hey, I'm trying to figure out this, that, and another. Like we have district injury support coordinators. They're spread all across the country to help the post 9/11 warriors that got out, that's still on the temporary retired list. Dude's house burned up and he lost his DD-214. The disc would call me, and I'd get in our program and pull his DD-214.
Get his stuff replaced.
Yeah.
So it's everything from medical care and resources all the way down to administrative care and resources for anybody that's once they've been declared injured, wounded, or ill.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. I played with a guy that has bone cancer named Chris yesterday. Shout out Chris. He, part of the golf organization and been really through it with all that, but talked about the support. And it's like bone marrow. It's like not going away. But they've helped him out with, different machinery to help him with his body and surgeries. And then, like you said, even administrative, support that he gets still, even as a veteran, that these guys are helping him with, which is great. We should be doing that. We should be doing all of that. All right, so you took the job of somebody who probably had you on a roster at some point.
Oh, they still call me. Like Battalion East still calls me every 6 months. Hey, man, how you doing? I'm like, I'm at the regiment.
Yeah.
I go into the system, make sure they update their notes and everything properly.
Yeah. Make sure you put that down when we talk.
Yeah.
That's funny. And where do you see yourself in the future now?
I'm just going to take a few months off.
You got retirement coming up in like
less than a month.
Less than a month, baby. Counting down a month.
Yeah. August 7th, Purple Heart Day at the World War II Memorial.
Hell yeah. That's awesome, dude.
Yeah.
When did you say August 7th?
August 7th, Sunday.
Up there?
I'll shoot you an invite.
Let me know.
Yeah.
I'll come up.
I figured that'd be the perfect place to do it on Purple Heart Day in front of the monument of our greatest generation.
Boom.
Yeah.
Boom, dude. It'll be beautiful. I've been to a couple. It's weird because I retired earlier than what I should have. And so now it's getting to the point where all of my guys
are starting to retire.
Are retiring, and so they're hitting me up. Hey, I love it, dude. I get to be a part of that and get that vicariously through you guys because I didn't make it all the way over there. But very, very cool, man. Very cool. Well, dude, John, we've been going 2 hours and 15 minutes.
Oh, wow.
What else you got?
Well, I just want to give one shout out to our call center we have at the regiment. Anytime if you're a Marine, Navy Corpsman, serve with the Marines, anytime you need any assistance, you can call 1-877-487-6299. That's on our website. They're open 24/7. If you
Is this a crisis line or is this the regiment line?
It's not quite a crisis line. I mean, you probably want to call 988 if you're having a crisis. But if you're having issues with the VA, you've lost something, you're trying to fill out a form, and you don't quite understand that we have people that we pay to man this call center and help with finance, with VA stuff, with anything you need help with. Mm-hmm. If you're on the TDRL, you can call them anytime.
And what's it called?
It's called I don't want to quote the name, but it's the Wounded Warrior Regiment Call Center.
Okay, so Wounded Warrior Regiment Call Center, you work there, and can you hit that number one more time?
Yeah, 1-877-487-6299.
Perfect. And if you look right into that camera and speak to the audience of hitters and veterans both, and give them John's best 3 points, what would it be?
That's a good one. 3 points as of today.
How you feel right now?
So the biggest thing I always say is if you're not having fun doing something, don't do it. That's the reason I stuck around the Marine Corps as long as I did, even though they said, hey, your time's gone. I can still contribute. If you can't contribute to your local community, your local government, your anything locally, or just contribute, give a little piece of something back. Because that's going to help our kids, our grandkids, our friends and family's kids, just a better life later down the road. Just like we do in the Marine Corps. Everywhere we go, we pick up trash that we didn't bring in. You got to make your place, wherever you are, wherever you're going, better than what it was when you got there. That's probably the biggest part. But you got to have fun doing that, just like the first one. And I guess the last thing is just give a shit. You know, whatever you do, just give a shit about it. Don't do something just to do it.
Check. Great words. Well, John, I appreciate you coming out. I'm glad we finally got to do this, man. It's been an honor having you on, sitting down and talking and hearing the stories. It's crazy because when you're getting blown up, I'm in the same piece of dirt as you, and didn't know you then. I'm glad to know you now, though, and I'm glad you came on. I'm sure that there's, you guys are going to take something out of this. If you do take something out of this, I want you to share it out to you guys that it can help. And everything from the resource numbers to the regiment to the experiences that John's put down on the recording today and the talks that we've had today. Look forward to seeing you guys next time. John, appreciate you, man.
Appreciate it, brother.
All right, guys, back now. John Rose is off the hook and has left. And Matt, wanted to come to you for some points over the episode. What do you got?
Man, excellent story. He was a character, dude. Like he was kind of a jolly guy for as much stuff as he went through, you know.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Definitely an uplifting story for sure. But yeah, the recruiting duty was kind of a main topic. It seemed like he enjoyed it, but he definitely had to work at making his mission, I think is what. And it was crazy how they put an Alabama boy in New York City. It was pretty crazy, you know.
Yeah, I think I said something about I don't think they thought that one all the way through. Either I said it or he said it or we both said it. They maybe should have thought that one through better, but resourceful to say the least. He made the best out of what he had.
That's right. I mean, typical Marine Corps. They're just gonna do. Oh yeah, name in a hat. Yep, he's going to New York City, you know, and then just adapt and overcome, right? Just figure it
That's right.
out. Go volunteer at the football stadium and recruit a janitor. Yep, works for me.
Get that mission.
So,
A message to Garcia.
right. And then dude, when he was talking about the resourcefulness, me being a mechanic, when he said the black pepper thing, I was like, boom, got you. Yep.
Yeah, I had no clue. I was like, I didn't know. He's like, oh, that's more from growing up.
Interesting about it, you can actually crack an egg in a radiator and it'll do the same thing.
No kidding.
Yep. And did the spent shell casings. I think
7.62.
I think I'm gonna have to go.
Projectile and
I'm gonna have to go get some and carry them on my service truck now, I guess, or something.
I know, dude. I was learning the whole way. I was blown away. I was like sticky notes everywhere. 50 cal, roger that.
Breacher kit up, like get the grinder out.
Yeah, man, it was good.
Yeah, that definitely plucked a chord with me for sure. And then
resilience would be the key word for that episode, because that is a resilient human being.
Yep.
And a resilient family.
Definitely adapt and overcome for sure. That's the name of the game right there. We weren't mechanics, we weren't truck drivers, but now in my career now, I'm like, yeah, that's what you need when you're doing stuff like that. So, yeah, and then they did the ground and air differences between the Marine ground and the Marine air wing is what he struck that. It's something that I had never thought about. I figured those guys did have trucks, but I guess they don't really roll in trucks, and he just got that one where obviously that was why he was there, was to be attached to the UAV unit or whatever they were called on the air wing side, and just cool little things.
I didn't know about the internship on Capitol Hill. I didn't know that was even a thing.
Right. And when he started talking about it, I said, Ryan should probably look into that.
It's too late now. I'm not active duty, but that's
I misunderstood that. I guess you got to be active duty to do it.
Yeah, I think it's like an internship. Look into it more, but wild, man. I learned the whole time throughout the whole episode. I was learning new stuff, just like posting it. Boom, boom, boom. But
excellent. Yeah, somebody who wants to serve something bigger than themselves still.
That's right. That's right.
Even as much as he went through. So excellent.
That's right. Yeah. All right, guys. Well, if you hung with us this far, we appreciate it. And that's our small after action of John Rose. Hope you enjoyed the episode.
Thank you.
Louisiana Gun Shop, your firearm headquarters, specializing in concealed carry guns, ammo, and training. You can get your Louisiana permit with us. Also a large selection of AR-15s, or if you are that build-it-yourself type of guy or gal, we have all the parts to build and customize your own AR-15. Glock, SIG, Taurus, Ruger. We have all the brands, both in the store or at LouisianaGunShop.com.
Not too far. You're marking the building. Hit him. Yeah, that's good. That's a good shot. That's plenty. Yeah.